begins. It's time for Sports 56 Middays with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Now, here are your hosts, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
I got a piece of land out in the countryside. Lay back and smell the sun. Warm up the Georgia pie. Feels so good to be taking it easy. Why would I ever leave? 'Cause I know I got some good.
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome into Sports 56 Middays on another spectacular weather day here in Memphis and the Mid-South. Hope you're enjoying your Friday. Hopefully it'll be a nice weekend. I think there's a lot of rain in the forecast for next week. Yes, you can't go over the new bridge, and I say new bridge with the air quotes, but you can get to Arkansas over the I-55 bridge, and you can, if you've already purchased tickets online, head down to the Barbecue Fest. Not as big as it always is or normally is, but at least it's going on here, and the weather for the folks that are barbecuing, again, absolutely spectacular. We welcome you into Sports 56 Middays on this Friday, May 14th, 2021, as we help you get your weekend kick started. Greg Gaston and Gabe Kuhn today. Eli off. He'll return on Monday. We are in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, located just north of Interstate 40. The first hour of the program is brought to you always by Action 24/7. Coming up on the show, plenty of Grizzlies talk. I went to FedEx Forum last night for the first time in quite some time. I'll talk about that experience as the Grizzlies pull one out on the Kings, 116-110. And for all intents and purposes, tonight's game against the Kings, once again at FedEx Forum, meaningless as the Grizzlies now set their sights on Golden State Sunday afternoon. We'll give you the possibilities for the Grizzlies and the whole deal with the Western Conference as teams battle to stay in the playoffs and not have to play in the play-in round. And that's a possibility right now for Dallas, Lakers, Golden State. 2 of the 3 will clinch a playoff spot. 1 will be in the play-in. We'll give you the scenario as far as that's concerned. Also, the Grizz, by winning last night, clinched their first winning record since 2017. At 10:25, our friend Nick Bromberg will join us from Yahoo Sports to talk a little NASCAR. It's been a while since we talked about NASCAR. We'll give you up to date on what's happening in the 2021 Cup Series as Martin Truex Jr. has won 3 races already this year, yet is not number 1 in the standings. We'll tell you who that is, and we'll talk a little college football as well with Nick Bromberg. At 11:05, our good buddy Jay Pridman, national correspondent for the Daily Racing Forum, will preview tomorrow's Preakness, the run for the Black-Eyed Susans, Medina Spirit in the field, the latest with Bob Baffert. Will Medina Spirit's win at the Derby be taken down? Still an investigation ongoing. Jay will give us the latest. At 11:25, Steve Berkowitz, sports project reporter and editor for USA Today Sports, on where we stand with the name, image, and likeness issue. And then at 12:05, more Grizzlies talk with Michael Wallace, the senior editor, contributor, and analyst for Grind City Media. At around 12:30, 12:40-ish, we'll play 10 in a row, the game show that has swept the nation. We always invite you to be a part of the program. Hit us up on the First Bank text line at 901-360-8255, 901-360-8255, and time permitting on the First Bank phone line at 360-8255. All right, Gabe, it wasn't easy. They never are for the Grizzlies, although they made it easy against Dallas for some amazing reason and slaughtered the Mavericks the other night, but last night against a Kings team, and I was there, I counted 8 active players for the Kings. They all played, and they took the Grizzlies down to the wire. The Grizz actually led 82-74 with 2:44 left in the third, and they started to distance themselves, and it looked like maybe they would run away and hide in the fourth quarter. At least that's the way I felt. And lo and behold, here come the Kings. None of their big stars other than Buddy Hield. The Kings took an 8-point lead, 99-91, with 8 to play in the fourth. And so they seized control. But give the Grizzlies credit, the last 4 or 5 minutes of that game, they hunkered down defensively. Jaren Jackson Jr. not on the floor, and they played much better defensively, which we'll talk about in a second. But they end up getting the win, once again, to make tonight's game pretty much meaningless and set their sights now on what's happening Sunday in San Francisco.
Justin James.
Justin James, where did that guy come from?
Grizzlies killer. Who knew?
31.
He's averaging 8 minutes a game. He had 3.5 points per game, and he drops 31 on 12 for 17 shooting, 4 for 5 from 3. I expected the Grizzlies, just because whenever they play these G League teams, I expected the Grizzlies to sort of play down to their competition because they seem to every single time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like that for a while. You texted me, I think, in the fourth quarter saying you give up on betting. You took the Grizzlies live at, what, 4.5?
At 4.5, I thought it was over.
And you figured it was over. And the Kings played themselves back into the game because the Grizzlies would not cover the three-point line. The Grizzlies were not playing very well. But I told you, I said I would not be surprised. There's 3 minutes left. I think they were down by 5. I said I would not be surprised if they come back and win this game. I didn't know about the cover, but they ended up doing that too.
Well, I said to you, I agree with you. I thought the Grizzlies would still come back and win. I didn't think there was a chance they'd cover, and they ended up covering my halftime line of 4.5 on FanDuel. But the original line, I believe, was 9.5. Now, Sacramento was still playing to stay alive to try to get into the play-in to overtake San Antonio, who's in 10th, but they are now eliminated with that loss. So they were still playing for something, but they didn't have De'Aaron Fox and Bagley and a bunch of their stars. So it was Buddy Hield and some other names that you never heard of, like Justin James, who came off the bench for that 31 points. Terrence Davis, the former Ole Miss Rebel, former Toronto Raptor, he had a nice game, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. He was 6 of 13 from the field and 4 of 8 from 3. But when it came down to it, the Grizzlies down the stretch made the plays offensively and defensively. Dillon Brooks, he took it upon himself. I love the aggressive Derek Brooks. Dillon Brooks. Why did I say Derek Brooks? Dillon Brooks, the aggressive Dillon Brooks. 30 points, 13 of 28 from the field. That's a lot of shots, but that's Dillon Brooks. When he's feeling it, let him go. He hit 3 of 7 from 3. He had 6 rebounds. He blocked 2 shots. He was the one Grizzly for a while there that was the one that was hustling. Because in the first half, all the hustle stats were in favor of the Kings. So that's why I tweeted out at halftime, I still think the Grizzlies will come back. They'll figure it out at halftime that they just weren't making the effort. And so the effort was much better in the third, but then the Kings' effort got them back into the game. Jonas Valanciunas was unstoppable inside. I don't understand why he didn't have 40 shots. 24 points, 13 rebounds. Sacramento did not have an answer. Ja, 12 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds, but 6 turnovers. There were a lot. The Grizzlies ended up with, 18 turnovers? Let me double check. I think there was 18 turnovers. 18 turnovers.
Yep.
And a lot of the passes were just lackadaisical. I mean, Ja had the highlight reel moments in that game, but he had 6 turnovers himself. So it wasn't one of his better games, although early on he was distributing some of those passes. That no-look lob pass over 2 defenders was absolutely incredible. And then there was slow-mo. Anderson went for 14 with 9 assists and 5 rebounds. So the veteran players, and Josh, still a young guy, came through in the end. But they also did it defensively, Gabe. They shut down the Kings in the end. They forced a 24-second shot clock violation. There was another play where the Kings got the ball back with 9 seconds, and I think that may have been the shot clock violation. They had another one where they forced a bad shot. Buddy Hield had the air ball at the end. And the only difference, other than saying it was more of a team effort in the last 5 minutes, was Jaren Jackson Jr. was not on the floor. Jaren Jackson Jr. in the starting lineup, and offensively he did some good things. He was 5 of 11 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3. He did have 6 rebounds, but he had 5 fouls, and he was a defensive liability. He ended up a -2 if you care about the plus-minus, whereas John Morant was a +25, Jonas Valanciunas a +22, Kyle Anderson a +19. Dillon Brooks, who played a lot with the second unit as well. He played a lot of minutes in that game. He ended up playing 37 minutes. He was a +10. So the only player minus in the starting lineup was Jaren Jackson Jr., and it's on the defensive end. Number one, he's lost out there sometimes. Number two, from a physical standpoint, he's out-physicaled. Loose balls, rebounds that are just taken out of his hand. I know he can be a better player than what he has shown, and I know he's coming back from injury, but it begs the question about Sunday. If he's laboring defensively out there, can you afford to keep him on the court?
Well, you can talk about him coming back from injury all you want. This is something we've been seeing his entire career, and we understand he's still young, so that's the one thing you still can give him the crutch for, but this is something that's not surprising. Him fouling, him being pushed around, him being a defensive liability is normal in all reality for his NBA career so far. He's the only guy in the starting lineup who is not in the double digits in the pluses. I mean, he was -2 while everybody else was either +10 or over in the starting lineup, and that's not really acceptable in the situation that he's in. I offensively, in the second half, I thought he cooled off dramatically. I thought the second half all around for him was just not very good. But eventually, with Jaren Jackson, you're going to have to see some production defensively. We know he can block shots, but eventually that's not going to be enough. He's going to have to be able to not foul. He's going to have to be able to bow up against some of these guys who try to force their way into the paint. And until that gets done, he's going to be a defensive liability out there, and that's just the truth of it. It stinks.
Don't misunderstand me. I think he's a very talented player. He's kind of freakish, as big as he is, to hit the threes like he is doing. But, of course, that's the changing landscape of basketball. Bigs usually take threes and hit threes. Look at what Joel Embiid does and others around the league. So it's not unprecedented what he's doing, but he's a guy that can play on the perimeter. He's a guy that can take his defender down low and beat him off a dribble. He's got pretty good athleticism to be as big as he is. But there are times on the floor, especially on the defensive end, that I just think he looks awkward. So don't get me wrong. I think he's a talent. But I have never been as high as other people have been on Jaren Jackson Jr. But I do believe the organization is. And so he, I think, is firmly a major part of the future of this team. Now, it's interesting that yesterday a story came out from Mark Berman, who I assume covers the New York Knicks. And have you seen this story?
Briefly, yes.
Whispers in Memphis are the Grizzlies aren't yet sold on their 2018 lottery pick, 6'11" power forward center Jaren Jackson Jr. Now, we're not privy to the inside dope within the Grizzlies organization on what they think about every player. So, or any of the players. But from everything that we've heard is that they really think he is a major part of the future. And again, understandably so. He's kind of a freakish player. So I don't know where this is coming from. But he does say they're concerned about his durability, which I have said since day one in the first injury that can this guy stay healthy? But anyway, he goes on to say that the Knicks recently hired Jackson's father, Jaren Sr., to be an assistant coach with the G League Westchester Knicks. Jackson Jr. is also a former creative artist agency client of former Knicks president Leon Rose and is now with CAA's Austin Brown. Obviously, he had to change once Rose left. He can no longer represent players as he's now with the Knicks. Sources also said Knicks GM Scott Perry loved Jackson's athleticism coming out of Michigan State. On and on and on and on. Here's the problem, though. He signed with the Grizzlies, and they can't even do anything as far as an offer sheet until summer of 2022. And in that case, all they could do is throw out an offer sheet, and the Grizzlies can match. So if the Grizzlies, and I believe it is more than likely true, believe that this guy is a major part of their future with John Morant, then they would match it. So all this talk is just Knicks conversation for the New Yorkers.
This is Knicks basketball. This is Knicks fans getting hyped up about a player they may be able to get.
The guy's just putting all the dots together.
This happens all the time, every single offseason with the Knicks. I wouldn't read into it too much. I think the Grizzlies and the front office think he's a part of the future. He's 21 years old. Regardless of what he's done defensively, regardless of what he's been as far as being hurt. It's a hard sell for me to say that they're not thinking of him as a piece for long term.
They are not giving up on a guy that has that much potential to be a star in the league. Now, again, do I have my doubts? Somewhat. I do. I do have questions about the durability, as Berman brought up in that piece. But it's not like you're attracting amazing free agents in the prime of their careers. And this guy has freakish athleticism. But for this year, and it looks like he's healthy, coming back from injury. They took their time. They did their due diligence with him. He's not playing back-to-back games. So it's not a matter of the injury hurting him where he's laboring. It's just on defense, something's amiss. So again, I asked the question on Sunday, if there are issues when he's on the floor defensively, is it a quick hook? Should it be a quick hook? It probably wouldn't be with Taylor Jenkins, but should it be if they're struggling to get somebody else in there, whatever the combination may be? We saw that combination down the stretch with Desmond Bain in there, along with Brooks and Morant, Valanciunas, and Kyle Anderson. And that's how they won the game in the last 4 or 5 minutes, making some key shots. Brooks hit a key shot. Anderson had a big three. And then defensively, there was no liability out there on the floor. But then again, that was against Sacramento last night. Not a juggernaut who was missing a lot of players.
Jaren Jackson is never going to have a quick hook unless he gets into foul trouble, which tends to happen a whole lot.
Last night.
In that situation, yes, you take him out of the game. But because what he provides offensively, I don't think there will be a situation where they think he's playing bad enough defensively to take him out unless he fouls. Because he is – the truth of the matter is he is fantastic. His talent offensively is going to trump what he has done early in his career defensively. I think it's impressive what he's able to do offensively, but defensively, it's just been a problem after problem after problem.
Well, it's hard to hide it. It's hard to hide it because Valanciunas is a great rebounder, but he's not the fleetest of feet. So moving around and helping with help defense, it's not always going to be there, and that's why you'll see guys get open for dunks and get underneath for offensive rebounds. It happened last night an awful lot.
The last 5 minutes show you all you need to know, though.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Right.
And I don't think he'll be that bad every single night.
Okay.
But he was just not locked in defensively last night.
But again, the Grizzlies got it done, 116-110. They improved to 37-33. That's the first time this year they have been 4 games over 500. They've been at three different times before finally coming through to go 4 games up on 500 for what that means. And the Grizz clinch, as I mentioned, their first winning record since 2017. So the scenario is pretty simple. Tonight, and Taylor Jenkins was non-committal last night when asked about who he's going to play this evening. I would doubt very much that we're going to see John Morant and Jonas Valanciunas. I don't know if we'll see any of the starters, to be honest with you. We certainly won't see Jaren Jackson Jr. because it's back-to-back. So I think this is a perfect time to rest. You got a long flight out to California, and you're going to play Golden State in the afternoon on Sunday. If the Grizzlies win, they are 8. They are going to be in a situation where if they win 1 game, they will be in the playoffs. If they lose, they will be 9, where they will have to win 2 games to be in the playoffs. It's that simple. It comes down to that game. But I tweeted out earlier, yes, it's extremely important. But it's not do or die. If the Grizzlies lose at Golden State on Sunday, their season isn't over. It just makes it harder to get into the postseason, into the playoffs. They're part of the postseason, but I'm talking about the playoffs, the top 8 spot. Now, 6, 7, 8. Where does everything stand right now with the Lakers, with the Mavericks, and with the Trailblazers? So we're talking 5, 6, 7. Because it's Golden State and the Grizzlies battling for 8/9. So give us a quick update, Gabe, before we take our timeout, and then we'll bring on Nick Bromberg. But what do we have coming up here in the final 3 days of the regular season in the NBA that could change things in the Western Conference.
So the Lakers have 2 games left, Saturday, Sunday, Pacers and Pelicans. They're both on the road.
Okay.
So very winnable games for the Lakers, especially if you get Anthony Davis and LeBron James back in the lineup. We'll see what happens there. Trailblazers have 1 game left, and it's against the Nuggets. So if they lose that game, that opens the door for the Lakers to actually get to that 6th spot. If the Lakers win their last 2 games. Like I said, very, very possible considering they're playing the Pacers and the Pelicans, and LeBron and AD will probably be back in the lineup. Now, the Mavericks are an interesting one. Technically, the Lakers could propel themselves into that 5th spot if the Mavericks lose their last 2 games, but the Mavericks are playing the Raptors and the Timberwolves. I can't imagine they lose those games. If they were to lose both, that would be absolutely insane. I believe they win both, if not just win one. So I think the Mavericks are pretty well set there at number 5. So I think we're looking at the Lakers. If they win their last 2 games and the Blazers end up losing to the Nuggets, the Lakers could take over that 6th spot. But if the Trailblazers do find a way to beat the Nuggets, the Lakers are going to be in the play-in, and that will be set completely.
And again, if the Grizzlies win that game on Sunday, and that scenario turns out to be true, what you just went over, the Grizzlies would stay out on the West Coast and play the Lakers, more than likely on Tuesday. I think the 7-8s are on Tuesday, and the 9-10s are on Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. But again, if you're in that position and you lose, you're not eliminated. But if you are 9, and if that's the scenario, the Grizzlies would be back home. They would host the Spurs, and if you lose that game, you are eliminated. So that's what's still pressing. By the way, Denver is a game behind the Clippers for the 3rd seed, with each team having 2 games remaining. So it's still important for Denver as well. So a lot still to be determined over the next 3 days in the final days of the regular season in the NBA.
Real quick also, depressing for the Kings. Last night, obviously, the Grizzlies getting the win. This is now they're officially, the Kings, eliminated from the postseason.
Yeah,
from
I mentioned
NBA
that earlier.
playoff
Yep,
contention.
absolutely.
15th year in a row?
15th straight year.
My gosh.
They had a chance to still
That's
hang
so
around.
depressing.
Yeah, they had a chance to still hang around if they won that game last
Talent-wise,
night.
you think they'd be in a position where they could be a postseason team. But
They
Luke
could-
Walton has not gotten them over the hump.
Well, they always have a high draft pick, and they've accumulated a lot of talent. But those guys, for whatever reason, the chemistry's not there most of the time. Number 2, they always seem to get hurt. All the Kings players, all the Kings men, it's like Humpty Dumpty rhyme. They fall down. They always seem to get hurt. Nobody seems to stay healthy. Maybe Buddy Hield this year, but De'Aaron Fox is out, Bagley's out, on and on and on. All right, we'll take our first time out. When we come back, we switch gears. Literally, we'll talk some NASCAR with Nick Bromberg. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 98.5.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 98.5 FM, and 96.1 FM.
Hey, I heard that you just got a new car.
Yes, I sure did, and I could not believe how simple it was.
Really? Tell me what happened.
I bought my car at Cars Inc. They are family owned, and the choices of cars were the best I've ever seen. They even said they could price match with anyone and help me with whatever financing I needed.
Wow, it does sound like they know what they are doing.
Their family has been in the car business for over 30 years, and they're excited about being in Memphis.
Where are they?
5095 Cummington Way, and their phone number is 901-623-7180.
It's happening again at Family Leisure. Don't miss out again this summer because pools are going fast. Spas in stock now, too, and they're ready for delivery. New 2021 patio furniture, state-of-the-art in stock now, and up to 20% off select sets. Swing into spring with a brand new play gym, professional installation available. The temperature's rising, and so is the service at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road, where family and fun come together.
Memphis, it's official. Crab Kings is where it's at. The best seafood with 7 flavors to choose from. Try the shrimp and chicken pasta. Now available is the salmon and fried lobster pasta, snow crabs, king crab, dungeons, and more. Don't forget about the calamari, shrimp, and lobster. The portion, the price, the taste. Only at Crab King. Visit us at crabkingtn.com. Crab King Seafood and Pasta. East Memphis location now open till midnight for carry out. Memphis favorites.
Gossett Kia on Covington Pike is celebrating Memorial Day all month long, and we can put you in a new Kia for less than $5 a day. 2021 Kia Forte $139 a month, 2021 Kia Soul $179 a month, and 2021 Kia K5 built in America $199 a month. All 36-month leases only $3,049 to its signing. Plus, peace of mind you can trust with Kia's 10-year 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Forte $139 a month lease, Soul $179 a month lease, K5 $199 a month lease. So hurry to Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike, online KiaCovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Zero security deposit, $650 acquisition fee, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Forte ME 358110, MSRP 20,590. Soul M777 6411, MSRP 21960. K5 MG 005197, MSRP 26170. Includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license with approved credit. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 5/31/2021. Dealer stock only.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour is brought to you by Action247.com. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
I was working part-time in a 5 and dime. My boss was Mr. McGee.
Welcome back, everybody. 10:30 the time on this Friday edition of Middays on an absolutely spectacular weather day here in Memphis. Great day for the barbecue fest that continues. Before we bring on Nick Bromberg, we did get a text on the Grizzlies about the Jaren Jackson Jr. story. And again, I caution you, don't look too much into this story. First of all, they have it wrong. The guy who authored the story talked about this summer being able to offer. You can't even offer anything to Jaren Jackson Jr. until the summer of 2022. And again, the Grizzlies can match. But the question was what, Gabe?
The question was, again, 901-360-8255 if you want to text the show at any time. If Jaren Jackson goes to New York, do you think Ja Morant will leave?
No, but basically the premise is if they lose a guy that they think as highly of as Jaren Jackson Jr., what would it mean for Ja Morant? Look, you got to play it out, see where it goes. Down the road, Ja Morant hopefully will be a Grizzly for his entire career, but that's a lot to ask for in this day and age with players moving around the way they do. But you have to surround Ja with other talent.
And also, I'm not sure Jaren Jackson is the guy in that locker room that's going to sway people to leave or not to leave. If Ja Morant was out the door, I think other guys may follow him out the door. But I don't know if Jaren Jackson Jr. is that type of guy.
Yeah, but I think the point is that they are close, and they really are close. But I don't expect Ja Morant for quite some time, and I don't believe Jaren Jackson Jr. and that story. I think the Grizzlies are sold on him right now. But again, the durability question is certainly a very important question. Without further ado, he is Nick Bromberg. We love having him on the show. College football, NASCAR reporter for Yahoo Sports. Really covers all sports. You can follow him on Twitter at Nick Bromberg, and he joins us now on Sports 56 Middays. Hey, Nick, how are you?
What's up? It's our last weekend of meaningful football until late August.
I know. I'm sad about that. But the way it's going with transfer portal and with all other news off the field, there's probably something that's going to happen every week. In fact, yesterday, how about the Pac-12 and the decision to go with George Kliavkoff, the entertainment guy from MGM Properties, going outside the box to basically rebrand the Pac-12. I think it's a brilliant move. It could backfire, but what say you about that hire by the Pac-12?
You know, I think it's full wait and see, and I think the Pac-12, what does it have to lose at this point?
Right.
I think, I think it's a good sign for the Pac-12 that you have a commissioner, a new commissioner, who is basically less than an hour after he's introduced yesterday, he's saying, look, we need to expand the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And he's already talking about modernizing name, image, and likeness. It's like these are the two things facing college football and then college sports in general with name, image, and likeness. And then also, too, a guy who has a media background is probably not the worst thing for the Pac-12 because, this is, I don't know about you all, I'm a DirecTV subscriber. I don't have the Pac-12 network. I doubt very many cable people in Memphis have the Pac-12 network. So they want to be on the same level as the Big Ten network and the SEC network and the ACC network. Obviously, they have the ESPN distribution as well, where you can flip on the TV and you find the Pac-12 network. They have not gotten that, and the schools in the conference are really hurting because they started a network right before streaming kicked in and everybody started ditching cable. But the fact that cable hasn't even picked up that network to begin with, and everybody had those revenue projections saying, look, if we're in 70% of households with cable, we're going to have this many millions of dollars for the schools. That's just simply not happening. And the schools need that money if they want to, compete with the other power conferences.
Now, I saw him in his presser, and I thought he said all the right things. I thought it was a home run. Now, granted, talk is cheap. I want to see what he actually does here. But would you say the media rights and the TV deal is probably the biggest thing that he's going to have to work on here early in his tenure as the Pac-12 commissioner?
Yeah, I would say so. I think even more so, we can talk about the competitive football aspect, but at the same time, how much does the conference commissioner really have to do with that? I think figuring out the mess that the Pac-12 is in terms of its media rights and getting that all ironed out and figured out and getting better deals for the conference is quite frankly, number one, especially, as we all know going forward, that schools are likely going to be facing, just even if it's a minor cut, some sort of cut in sponsorship income on their end as companies are going to look to potentially reallocate some of their funds to give players some of that endorsement and sponsorship money that they would normally spend at a basketball arena or a football stadium.
Years ago, and you, I'm sure, know and remember, where there was the talk about the Pac-12 possibly poaching Texas and maybe even Oklahoma. Well, all of a sudden, that has reared its ugly head again. Maybe not so ugly in this case of the Pac-12, but certainly for the Big 12. I don't know this guy from Adam, but you talk about rebranding. I wonder if that will all of a sudden resurface where the Pac-12 tries to do something as impactful, changing the landscape of collegiate sports as trying to go after big bad Texas.
I will never say never to anything in college sports, as we saw a decade ago with the craziness of realignment. But at the same time, I also think that the Big 12 is in a more advantageous position than the Pac-12 is right now. Mm-hmm. Because they have that Big 12 now. I mean, ESPN, we've seen what ESPN's done over the last week in the deals that they have announced and the fact that they got the Spanish soccer league on ESPN Plus, and the Big 12 is now well positioned to be on ESPN Plus. Do a lot of people have ESPN Plus? No, it's still not nearly as ubiquitous as regular ESPN is. But for the Big 12 being in such a disadvantageous position because of the way it treated Texas 10 years ago to stay in the Big 12 and the fact that Texas could have a TV network and basically no one else didn't, and the Big 12 has been trying to play catch-up without its own TV network, they have, I think, at least made chicken salad out of chicken you-know-what here, I think, in terms of trying to figure out what's the best happy medium to let Texas keep its own TV network and still try to be on the forefront of this technological change we're going to be in terms of our consumption habits in the next 10 years.
Nick Bromberg joining us from Yahoo Sports. You can follow him on Twitter at Nick Bromberg. All right, let's make the segue into NASCAR, another sport that you cover, and I'm going to go right to a text via Facebook from John. He says, ask Nick why Hendrick Motorsports is struggling this season.
I don't think they're struggling at all. So
you hear that, John?
I think the perception that Hendrick is struggling comes from the fact that Chase Elliott hasn't won yet. But you also Chase Elliott is eighth in the point standing Drivers like Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick have also not won yet because
Right.
We've had 10 winners in 12 races. But then you look at guys like Alex Bowman. William Byron has finished in the top 10 in each of the last 10 races.
And he's third in sports? Third in points, rather, right?
Exactly. And Kyle Larson almost ran down Martin Truex Jr. He's a guy who has a win this year. Every other driver not named Chase Elliott at Hendrick has a win. Chase Elliott is going to be in the playoffs. I don't think Hendrick is struggling. I think they're right there in terms of with Team Penske and Joe Gibbs Racing as fighting to be one of the top teams in NASCAR.
You mentioned Hamlin's name. He's been on our show several times, big because of obviously his association with FedEx and with St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. So here he is, no wins to this point. You just talked about that. Yet he's number one in the point standings with 529. So he's been consistently good. He just hasn't been able to take home the win.
It's a matter of time, and I've been saying that for like 6 8 weeks. And but I'm like, just be patient. It's going to happen. And I think we're facing this expectation with Hamlin and Harvick because they combined to win 16 races off the top of my head last year, 15 or 16. I can't quite remember the number, and neither of them won the championship. So we're expecting that same level of dominance this year. But just to put into perspective how good Denny Hamlin has been, is he could skip this week's race at Dover, and no matter what happens, if Martin Truex Jr. goes out, wins both stages, wins the race, gets the maximum 60 points, he is still going to be 15 points behind Denny Hamlin. And Denny Hamlin is still going to have the points lead. That's how big his points lead is on Truex right now because, he has 9 top 5s, 9 top 10s in 12 races. So he's been phenomenal. He just hasn't closed the deal, and it's fascinating to kind of see, we know he's number one in points, but just there is going to be such a massive perception shift as to how good Denny Hamlin's season has been if he had just won maybe one race. He'd closed the deal one time, and we're talking about a potentially all-time great historic regular season for what he's done so far.
So with Truex, who's second in points now with 454, but has 3 wins, he's the only driver to have multiple wins, and he has 3 of them. Is it basically been win or struggle?
He's had a couple of bad finishes. He has not. The restrictor plate races have not been kind to him. He's crashed out of both of those, and that's really cost him in the points. Where Hamlin has salvaged some points and gotten points out of those races. So I think that's the big reason why the points gap is where it is. And everybody else has had that. They have had that bad finish. Hamlin has done. NASCAR is, in terms of points racing, especially when you're somebody. I think it's really important when you're saying 15th, 16th in the point standings. You have to avoid the bad finishes because NASCAR does a sliding scale from basically 40 points, not counting stage points, 40 points to the winner, and then all the way down, and then last place gets points. So the last 4 or 5 spots, depending on how many cars are in the field, you get 1 point. If you are a top driver and you crash out, say you have a mechanical problem or you crash out in the first stage of a race, that's 1 point. You could have 1 point, and then somebody else wins the race, they get, say, 55 points. You have 1/55th of those points. And I realize it doesn't look like that big of a deal, but that's huge when you start talking proportionally and fractionally. And so when NASCAR went to this 1, 2, 3, 4 and on up point system, it really spread out the field and forced teams to value, say, NASCAR's been like, well, we want drivers to race for wins. We don't like points racing. Well, by doing what they've done with the points, it's actually points racing is more important than ever because it's more important to not lose points than it is to gain points. I think that's the easiest way to put it.
That's very interesting. I didn't even think of it that way. So 10 different winners in 12 races, as you mentioned. Does that mean we have parity?
That's a great question, and it's something that I've been struggling with this year. I think to a degree we do. I mean, obviously, for a while, there was the legitimate conversation that there could be, for the first time in NASCAR's 16-driver playoff format, that you could have 16 or more drivers win a race. And that meaning that everybody entering the playoffs would have a regular season win. But that's not going to happen. I think when you look at the guys remaining, you look at Hamlin, Harvick, Elliott, those are 3. That gives us 13 winners. It's going to be a surprise if we get more than 13 because I don't see anybody like Austin Dillon, Chris Buescher, Tyler Reddick. They're the 3 guys next in the point standings who haven't won. I think it would be a surprise if they had won because their number of top 5s is like a third of what it is of Hamlin's total himself, to kind of put that in perspective. And I think that's where the lack of parity really shows itself, because all you have to do is to go down to 12th in the standings, which is Austin Dillon, and he has one top 5. So that makes the don't lose points thing seem very true. He has one top 5, 5 top 10. He's 12th in the standings. He's over 200 points behind Hamlin. So you have this gap where, yes, 10 drivers have won, but you have the same drivers who are gobbling up top 5s and top 10s on a regular basis. So while the names and the faces are changing in victory lane, the names and faces at the front of the field are very, very consistent. And so I don't think the parity thing goes as far as the surface level win stats would suggest.
So this weekend, Dover, I covered the races at Dover for 10 years back when I was doing television in Maryland, so I'm very familiar with the Monster Mile. Who do you like this weekend to win at Dover?
The betting favorites, the top 5 betting favorites this weekend are all the last 5 winners at Dover. Hamlin, Harvick, Elliott, Truex. Those guys, they've all won the recent 5 races. They're the favorites for a reason. It's hard to go against Truex right now because he's the guy who has won. He is the betting favorite. He's the guy that's won multiple races this year. He won last week. I think it's either going to be Truex or Hamlin. I'm not going to be surprised if it's Harvick, but I think if I was going to be betting and picking the race, I would be torn trying to choose between Truex and Hamlin. All
right, final thing for you. Tell me if I read this right. Dale Jr. is going to come back and race one race this year?
Yeah, he's been doing one-off Xfinity races ever since he retired from NASCAR. So yes, he will be doing one more race this year in the number 8 car for Virginia Motorsports.
So Xfinity, not the Cup Series?
Yes, he just makes one Xfinity start a year.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I saw that, and I was thinking Cup Series, and like, wow, how big is that going to be for the fan base? But I did not know that he had this 1-year running thing. But, it's always nice when Junior's back on the track, no matter what the case may be. And it's always nice when we have Nick Bromberg on the program. He covers college football and NASCAR and other sports as well for Yahoo Sports. You can follow him on Twitter at Nick Bromberg. Nick, thank you so much as always. We'll talk to you down the road.
Appreciate it, Nick.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me.
Take care. Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration for all your roofing and home repair needs. Call Brandon McCullough at 901-438-5084. He's the owner of the company. It's locally owned and operated. He started the company from scratch. You can go online to find out more about them at newroofmemphis.com. They offer financing with many different plans and options available, including a 6, 12, or 18-month same as cash option. Pinnacle is part of the Roofs for Troops program. Any veteran, active, or retired, get a $250 rebate on the purchase of a new roof. Pinnacle does both residential and commercial roofing, so business owners, property managers out there, and, of course, homeowners. If you have a leak or any other roofing issue, call Brandon today. They'll come out and do a free roof inspection. They are licensed, bonded, and insured, and a member of the Better Business Bureau. You get a 5-year labor warranty on the purchase of a new roof. And remember, no insurance company can tell you what company you have to use, whatever the case may be. In this case, we're talking roofs. If you want to use Pinnacle, you go ahead and use Pinnacle. Now, Pinnacle will work with your insurance company, or they'll work out of pocket, whatever it takes to get that roof fixed, and that's the most important thing. All their work, satisfaction guaranteed, including carpentry work. They can put gutters up and install shingles, fencing, siding, rotten wood repair. They do exterior painting as well. Quality work at a very good price. If you can't do it yourself, call the experts at Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration. Again, call Brandon today. Tell him I sent you. 901-438-5084 will take good care of you, or go online to newroofmemphis.com. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 98.5.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
Hey everybody, want to sell your car, truck, or SUV today? Sell it to All-Star. All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch is a car buying machine right now, giving big money for any vehicle you want to sell, no matter what you owe. Seriously, All-Star is buying, so bring any vehicle and get your check today. Spread the word, people, because if you know anyone who wants to sell their car, truck, or SUV, All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch is the go-to place. All-Star Chevrolet on Kraft Goodman Road and allstarautogroup.com.
AC trouble? Call Air Doctors of Memphis, 901-598-HVAC. Owner Matt Davis is a third-generation full-service air conditioning specialist. Air Doctors of Memphis services all major brands, and labor and parts are guaranteed 100%. Their yearly AC checkup is only $60. Then this year, Air Doctors is the official HVAC contractor for St. Jude Dream House. Air Doctors installed the St. Jude Dream House new Train high-efficiency equipment. Get your service from the best. AirDoctorsOfMemphis.com. Call 901-598-HVAC.
The summer of fun is here now at Mario's Pools. Hi, everybody. This is Dave Woloshin from Mario's Pools on Exeter Road. That beautiful pool, well, it just doesn't happen. So call Mario, and his team will be right there to guide you every step of the way if you want to do it yourself, or they'll do it for you. If you need a replacement pool liner, Mario has the best price against all the major competitors, and by the way, the best selection. Call Mario's Pools, easy, 552-3399. That's 552-3399, or just walk in, so easy, in Germantown on Exeter Road. The great thing about Mario is he always takes that extra step. He gets to know you and your pool. He'll do everything he can to make it perfect. Mario's has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. You can check out the reviews on Facebook. Don't be a slave to your pool. Call Mario Pools today, 552-3399.
I got Jeff Allen, the Kia man that'll make you happy in your new ride from Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah. Jeff, what's the scoop?
The scoop is you got to get to Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah to get a 2021 Kia Forte for just $139 a month. Or how about a 2021 Kia Soul, $179 a month, and a 2021 Kia K5 built in America, $199 per month. All 36-month leases and only $30.49 due at signing.
Plus the industry-leading 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty program.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, and let's not forget West Memphis, Arkansas, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com.
Zero security deposit, $650 acquisition fee, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Forte ME 358 110, MSRP 20,590. Soul M777 6411, MSRP 21960. K5 MG 005197, MSRP 26170. Includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax, title, and license. With approved credit warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 5/31/21. Dealer stock only.
Like a coin in your mint, I am tempted.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour is brought to you by Action247.com. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Take me to the pilot for control. Take me to the pilot of your soul.
Greg Gaston gave Coon Eli off today. He'll return to the show on Monday. If you have any comments or questions, hit us up on the First Bank text line at 901-360-8255. We did have a text on the NASCAR topic. We just talked to Nick Bromberg about that. What was it, Gabe?
Yes, from Matt. He says, I love NASCAR playoff system. Is there any way over 16 drivers win this year? And I think Nick sort of addressed that.
Yeah, he doesn't think so. He thinks now that we've had 10 different winners in 12 races, we'll start to see repeat winners. I think there's still a possibility for a few more. Maybe we'll get up to about 13, 14 different winners. I can't see 16, but I love the playoff system as well. I absolutely agree with our texter. Also got a text via Facebook from John. He said, who was the player that played 3 minutes last night, got ejected? He did that on purpose. His name escapes me. Well, that was Udonis Haslem of the Miami Heat, who has been with the organization since 1912. And he is...
It was only 1912?
It was maybe 1909. I forget.
Okay, I was going to say.
But he is beloved in Miami. And he's looked at as a father figure to some of those young players. He is almost like a coach. Doesn't play. He doesn't play at all. So he plays last night for some whatever reason. He plays 3 minutes, hits a couple of shots, gets ejected. He was ejected. What was he ejected for? What did he do?
He got him and Dwight Howard got into it pretty good. He said he was going to hit Dwight Howard in the face, and then he did. He followed through on that promise.
Haslam's a tough guy, so that was not. He didn't.
He
didn't try to get ejected.
Oh gosh,
I don't believe what John. Yeah, what
yes,
John.
he did.
Oh, you think he tried?
3 minutes is only 3 minutes of the year.
Dwight Howard got under his skin. Dwight Howard got under his skin, and he said, "The hell with it."
You don't think Udonis Haslem was looking for a reason?
Why
to get kicked out?
The guy hasn't played. He gets 3 minutes into the game, and then he wants to get kicked out. He wants to go right back to the bench.
I don't doubt it.
Or to the locker room?
He was looking for a reason. He's like the enforcer in hockey for them at this point.
you think he was going into the game going, I am going to find a way to get ejected.
No, I don't necessarily think that.
That did not happen.
But I do think that he was not.
Once it happened,
he was not willing.
care.
He was not willing to control himself if anything were to happen.
That I agree with. Once something went down, he was going down with the ship because he's going to protect his team. He's going to protect himself. You're not going to get in my space, and Dwight Howard can get under your skin. All right, got some football news. JoJo Dorsey, the former Memphis Tiger, who jumped into the transfer portal, has resurfaced in New Orleans. Maybe he jumped on one of those barges going south and ended up in New Orleans. So JoJo Dorsey, who played defensive line, and once in a while he would play fullback or running back for the Tigers and score a touchdown here or there. Love JoJo Dorsey. He'll now be with the Green Wave, so within the American Conference. What do you think about that, Gabe?
Well, I mean, really, you can say he's in conference. He is, but he's returning home. That's where he's from.
No,
he's
I understand, but it's still within the conference.
I wonder how Tulane's going to use him. Tulane has had some really good defensive linemen over the years, and I love JoJo. I think JoJo was fantastic. He overperformed expectations here at Memphis. He was a walk-on guy, came in because his brother was here. I came in with his brother Dorland.
Yeah.
And he ended up playing D-line at 6 foot 275.
Right.
So, he's not overly big. I wonder how Tulane uses him. I wonder if they use him more in a fullback role or something of that nature, because they have had good D linemen. They usually tend to, in the American Athletic Conference, be the team who somehow gets a lot of talent on the defensive line. Patrick Johnson was a guy who came out this year. He was one of their edge rushers. They seem to have a guy like that every year.
JoJo will become the Tulane version of Taysom Hill with the New Orleans Saints. They'll use him at H-back and fullback and quarterback and wide receiver.
He's a little different shape than Taysom.
I know he is. I'm just kidding. But, yeah, good luck to JoJo Dorsey. So, Tulane and Memphis. That'll be interesting when it's a homecoming for Mr. Dorsey. Also from the NFL, Trey Smith, the former Tennessee offensive lineman, who dropped like a rock in the draft and ended up going in the 6th round to the Kansas City Chiefs, so not too shabby to end up in Kansas City, has signed a deal which could be worth up to $3.809 million. However, the signing bonus, and remember, in football, it's not guaranteed, but that's what he could make for a 6th-round pick. But his signing bonus, because he was a 6th-round pick, $130,000.
Still not shabby for me and you.
Well, for me and you,
but I assume he was expecting more than that when he went into the draft process.
You think?
I felt bad for him dropping that far.
I do too.
That's a steal though for the Chiefs. The Chiefs needed offensive line depth, and by God they got it.
I think it can be a really huge steal for the Kansas City Chiefs. So good luck to Trey Smith. Again, it was unfortunate with the things that came out about his health, dropping him in the draft. And it's just, I know, $130,000 to me, yeah, I'd love it. You're going to give me $130,000, but $130,000 signing bonus for an NFL player.
Well, a guy who thought he was probably going to get near $1 million for the signing bonus.
Yes, and you're going to a violent sport. It's $130,000.
But luckily, he's in a fantastic spot for him.
I think so. One other note before we take a timeout. Hour 2, Jay Prithman joins us as we'll preview the Preakness for you, the latest on Baffert and Medina Spirit. Steve Berkowitz on name, image, likeness from USA Today. We're going to get really intelligent on the show today with those two guys. I've upped the ante from me and you, Gabe, to these guys coming on the show in hour number 2. But Ben Garrett, who covers Ole Miss, we were talking about this last week when Eli had the story about Gunnar Hoglund, the pitcher for Ole Miss, who is out for the year with Tommy John surgery, which is just so unfortunate. He is such a good pitcher. And Eli asked me about his prospects for the draft. And I said, well, I think he's got to drop. And I know guys are coming back from Tommy John surgery like it's water. And so Ben wrote about that. And according to his ESPN Baseball Insider, believes that Gunnar Hoglund is still a first-rounder.
From what I understand, top 5 pitcher on the board, according to ESPN. So I don't imagine he'll drop that much. Because Tommy, again, you mentioned it. Tommy John, these guys come back almost better off of Tommy John nowadays.
When is the amateur draft? When does that take place?
I'll have to go look up the
because I'm
exact
going to put a little lunch bet on that. I think he will. There's no way I can see him staying top 5 pick. But if he does, great for him. I hope he does. I just don't see it, even though, like I said, pitchers are coming back from Tommy John surgery now every darn day.
July 11th through July 13th.
Okay, I'll be curious to see how that one goes. Hour 1 in the books, Hour 2 coming up. Sports 56 Middays on Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 96.1 and 98.5.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wollo said hello.
You've heard of James Gaddis Jewelers, but have you heard what they've done lately? Everything! A tremendous selection of diamonds and jewels, gold, silver, and much more. Lots of watches, tons of custom-made jewelry, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, so many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. James Gaddis has experts to help you with wedding and engagement rings, plus 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar.
Clay's cleaning service has a spotless reputation.
Take care of the windows. Hello, this is Clay.
But his business operations could use a light dusting.
Boy, I had you scheduled for next week. I'll just check here. No, absolutely. We will be there tomorrow.
Indeed can help him hire the people he needs.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job, you immediately get your short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Start your engines Mid-South and get ready to ride in your new Mitsubishi from Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike. Who doesn't want 41 MPG highway today? We Gossett with 2021 Mitsubishi Mirage G4, $14,647 or $179 a month. And take your pick with dynamic redesign in your 2022 Outlander or 2022 all-new Eclipse Cross, now $309 a month. All powered by a stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Plus, test drive today and you'll receive a free gift card on us. So get to Gossett Mitsubishi today, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 500 military rebate, G4 stock number MHF 06296, MSRP 17735, Outlander NZ00 8245, MSRP 27260, Cross NZ00 4494, MSRP 27725, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax not on license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 5/31/2021, dealer stock only.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour of Sports 56 Middays is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
We welcome you back to Sports 56 Middays, 11:02 the time, hour number 2, here on this Friday, May 14th, 2021. Greg Gaston and Gabe Kuhn. Eli off today. He'll return to the show on Monday. Hope your Friday is off to a great start, and why wouldn't it be with this absolutely beautiful weather? Grizzlies back in action tonight against the Sacramento Kings, but again, they know their situation. Sunday, Golden State to try to get that 8th spot in the play-in, as a huge game will take place out in San Francisco. So tonight I would imagine that Taylor Jenkins will rest a bunch of his starters. Also this weekend, the Memphis Tigers baseball team with their final regular season games in Memphis. Actually, their final games altogether, unless they can win the conference tournament in Clearwater in a couple of weeks. They won't be going to the NCAA tournament. They got a series next weekend in Wichita against Wichita State. And so that's going on this weekend. And Memphis 901 FC begins their regular season tomorrow on the road in Birmingham. Second hour of the program is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Elmo. On the web at gaddisjewelers.com. Your bridal engagement and anniversary jeweler headquarters. Give them a call. Tell them you heard it here on Sports 56 Middays. 901-767-9648. Our great friends at James Gaddis Jewelers. Well, it's been a wild ride over the last couple of weekends in horse racing. Obviously, everybody knows, unless they're living in some sort of cave, about what happened at the Kentucky Derby with Medina Spirit, the winner, and Bob Baffert, the trainer. Now it's the Preakness Stakes in Baltimore. We're excited about that. We're excited once again to have Jay Privman join us, the national correspondent for the Daily Racing Forum. You can follow him on Twitter at DRF Privman, and Jay joins us now on Sports 56 Middays. Jay, I can only imagine you've done probably a ton of interviews over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy, Greg, but thanks again for having me on.
Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Yeah, I saw your interview with Kenny Mayne, who ironically now is no longer with ESPN, which boggles the mind, but a great job in explaining what's going on. I'm still a little confused with everything. Right now, is the Derby and the win by Medina Spirit still up in the air while the investigation goes on? There's still a chance he could be taken down?
That's exactly right. The way drug testing in racing works is that if an initial test comes back positive, there needs to be a second confirmatory test done. And only if that second test matches the results of the first test would a racing commission then say, okay, this is a positive test, and now we're going to go forward with our investigation and then whatever potential penalty there would be for the horse or the trainer. So in this specific case, all we know to this point is that according to Bob Baffert, the first test came back bad. The second test hasn't happened yet. So as of today, Friday at 11 Central, Medina Spirit is still the winner of the Kentucky Derby. That obviously has the distinct possibility of changing in coming weeks once the test comes back and the racing commission goes forward, assuming, of course, that the second test matches the first one. But there's the very real possibility that this horse would be disqualified and that there would be a penalty against Bob Baffert.
It's pretty wild because Medina Spirit is in the field for the Preakness, and we'll talk about that in a moment. The favorite, in fact, could end up being taken down as the Derby winner, yet Mandalone, who could be elevated to the win at the Derby, is not in the field. Why is this horse not in the field?
His connections had said right after the race that they didn't think he was going to be ready to run back on 2 weeks rest for the Preakness. And in fact, I know they were informed, obviously, no later than last Sunday when the news started breaking regarding the situation that, hey, this might happen. Do you want to reconsider your Preakness position? And they were like, no. And he still hasn't had a workout since the race, which is not unusual. I mean, the race was only 13 days ago, and he's not scheduled to run again for a while. But,
right.
it might have been a situation where maybe the race took a little more out of him than they were anticipating going in, and he just needs a little more time before he's ready to perform at his best again.
We've had you on the show enough times to know that you speak in facts, and we appreciate that, and we always appreciate you coming on. But I'm going to ask for an opinion because I would have to think that you have had a lot of interaction with Bob Baffert over the years. I mean, this is not the first horse. There's been controversy with him with other horses. He's unbelievable, one of the greatest ever at his sport, at his job. What is your feelings, Jay? Do you think something was done purposely to give this horse an advantage, or do you believe in what Bob's saying?
Yeah, I don't know that something was done to give him an advantage. It would be incredibly stupid and sloppy to knowingly try and cheat with this kind of medication. It's a regulated medication that all states test for. It's going to show up in a test. So if you're going to try and do something nefarious, this wouldn't be something that you would use. That said, even if it was an error on their part to use this medication in the way that they did, let me just sort of backtrack here. Usually what this medication is used for is it's an injectable that is used into a joint for pain relief, I misspoke, not for pain relief, but for inflammation relief.
Okay.
And there's a 14-day withdrawal for it. So that's how it's used and how it's regulated. What Baffert has said is that they were using a topical cream on Medina Spirit because he had a rash on his hind end, and as it turned out, the cream that they were using had this as an ingredient, and it does have it as an ingredient. So it may, according to their version of events, it was an inadvertent error, but that doesn't excuse it happening because you're supposed to read the label. So even if it was an inadvertent error as opposed to trying to do something nefarious to gain an edge, the end result is going to still be the same, a disqualification, because the horse can't have that medication in his system on race day. And according to at least the first of the two tests that he's going to have to have, he had it. So
yeah, the rule's black and white.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, the rule is pretty odd. Okay, Gabe, you got something?
So we know what can be done to Medina Spirit in taking away the Kentucky Derby win. But with Bob Baffert, repeat offender, has been down this road a few times. What type of penalties could he possibly face in regards to what they will do to him in suspensions or what have you?
Right. So according to the Racing Commission's rules, the penalty, if this test is confirmed for Medina Spirit and he is disqualified, the penalty would be disqualification of the horse from the race. And it would also be a 30-day suspension for the trainer owing to it being a second offense for this medication in less than a year. He had a similar violation with the filly Gamine, who finished third in last year's Kentucky Oaks. In that case, and this goes back to what we were just talking about a moment ago, she was, in fact, treated with this medication in the way that it's intended to be used as an injectable into a joint for inflammation relief. The withdrawal time is 14 days. Baffert, his vet records showed that she was given it 18 days out. So it should have cleared, but as you know, all living, breathing mammals might process medication at a different rate. Mm-hmm. And, she had it in her system on race day. And, perhaps it might be prudent to pre-race test some of these horses, to be certain of things like that. That's something that I think is a very real thing that needs to be done. Going to your wider question of penalties for Baffert, for this specific case, that's what the Kentucky Racing Commission is supposed to do. I don't know if they would add on owing to, the record that he's had in other states. There's pluses and minuses to this. On one hand, there have been, as you pointed out rightly, a number of violations by him over the past couple of years. In each specific case, though, it has been for medications that are legal to use
but not to have in your system on race days. So I just want to sort of, parse that a little bit. It's not like you're using some blood doping agent or something that's completely illegal. That doesn't. I'm not trying to alibi for him. I'm just trying to illustrate the differences in terms of the types of things that he's been dinged for. But the fact that he's had numerous, multiples of these over the last couple of years, and it's not something that happens with other trainers, I think speaks to an operation that needs to be run as a tighter ship.
So the 21 picograms from all reports you see, it's 21 picograms of betamethasone. And I honestly did not know what picograms were
Nor did I.
before I actually saw this. And you look and you see it's a trillionth of a gram. That level, those trace amounts, is that something that you look at and would that really raise red flags? Or is that just one of those things where you think he may have just made a slight mistake in giving Medina Spirit something, 14 plus days out, and it just stayed in the system, Medina Spirit?
Right. Well, and again, going back to Medina Spirit, it wasn't given 14 days out in the traditional way that this medication is used. It was used as a topical cream because they were unaware, I guess because they hadn't read the label, that this topical cream that they were using for the rash on his hip contained that as one of the ingredients. And they were using it as a topical cream, they say, right up until the day before the race.
There you go.
So there wasn't a 14-day withdrawal on this, but it wasn't injected in the normal way that would cause a 14-day withdrawal. So it's a little bit of an apples and oranges comparison here on the route of administration, right?
Yeah.
So those are some of the aspects of this that are that you need to look at.
Do the levels need to be 0 picograms?
It's
in
a
that case?
rule's a rule, Gabe.
No, I'm just asking because it's a very trace amount. When you use things like this, and I don't know how it works in horses, but eventually it gets down to trace amounts, but it still would show up in your system. This
isn't if you're legally intoxicated with alcohol or whatever. We just talked about it. I think it's cut and dry. Either you have it in your system or you don't have it in your system. And now they're doing an investigation. Okay, let's move on because we got a Preakness race. And here's the thing: Medina Spirit is there. Baffert is not there. Has the uproar settled down, or is there still a circus surrounding this huge race tomorrow?
It's more of a muted situation because I think everybody covering the race kind of is operating under the very real assumption that the horse who is currently the Derby winner is not going to end up being the Derby winner. So you don't have that same level of anticipation for the Preakness that you usually do of, well, hey, can he win this race too and then go on to the Belmont with a chance to win the Triple Crown? That's not really a realistic part of the conversation right now. So owing to that, the race is the interest in it is a lot more muted. And I think people are just sort of confused as to how to view the race. It's a Triple Crown race, but it certainly doesn't have the same kind of feel that it usually does when it's run 2 weeks after the Derby and the Derby winner's there trying to keep his Triple Crown hopes alive.
Well, when you were on with us for the Derby, the preview of the Derby, you gave us the 3 California horses, one being Medina Spirit. You gave us the third place horse as well. And so number 1 and number 3, so 2 of your picks in the money, which was fantastic. Now you have only 10 horses. Medina Spirit a favorite. Another Baffert horse, Concert Tour, is the second pick at 5-2. How do you size up the Preakness Stakes tomorrow? And by the way, what's the weather for the race?
It's supposed to be nice, pleasant, a real kind of a pleasant day in the low to mid 70s, no rain forecast. So, really, really kind of nice because it can be very humid in Baltimore this time of year sometimes. So it should be ideal in terms of race conditions. Medina Spirit, obviously there's a deserved cloud hanging over his head owing to everything that we've just been talking about. But the fact is he's run 6 times and he's never finished worse than second. And the 2 horses who have beaten him in those 3 races, neither of them are in this race. So he is a deserving favorite just on his overall body of work. Even if you remove the Kentucky Derby from his resume, he's got a really admirable record. But I think, there's obviously deserved questions over how well he's going to perform tomorrow. My biggest concern with him over how he's going to perform is not so much the medication situation, but he's kind of a slightly built horse, and this will be the first and likely only time in his life that he's going to run back on such short rest of just 2 weeks. And I think there's a legitimate question as to whether he's going to thrive in that kind of an environment. So I picked him second. I ended up picking Midnight Bourbon on top in the race. I thought he ran a deceptively good race in the Kentucky Derby, finishing sixth. He kind of got shuffled back early and lost his position, and he's usually a horse who stalks the leaders. He's not on the lead, but he's kind of right behind them, and I'm envisioning him getting that kind of a positional trip tomorrow, and I think if he does, he can overhaul both Medina Spirit and Concert Tour and pull off a mild upset in the Preakness.
Yeah, I can't imagine the traffic, especially on a fast track, will be any issue. There's not 20 horses like there were in the Derby. So Midnight Bourbon, Medina Spirit, and Concert Tour?
I picked Concert Tour fourth. I actually picked another long shot named Rumbauer for third. I thought he ran a good race in the Bluegrass, in a race where there wasn't a whole lot of pace, and I think there'll be a little more. Not that it's going to be a fast pace, but it'll be a little more pace in the Preakness than there was in the Bluegrass, and I think that'll enhance his late rush. So I actually picked Rumbauer third. So to recap, it would be Midnight Bourbon on top, then Medina Spirit, followed by Rumbauer and Concert Tour for fourth.
Well, think about this. Bourbon, rum, what are they? They're spirits, right? So there you go.
Rumbauer is actually it's not a rum. It's a brand of wine.
Okay, well, it's okay. It's still something to do with it.
Rombauer, R-O-M.
Oh,
Greg.
Rombauer. I thought you said Rumbauer. But it's a wine, so that's fine. I mean, I'm always looking for something. But Jay was on pretty much with his picks for the Derby, so I'm sure it's going to be a good day for him again tomorrow. But Jay,
I actually was going to ask you something very similar to what you just talked about down the line here of odds. Shortest race, the Preakness is. So is Rombauer the one you look at as the long shot that has the biggest chance to make a statement here at the Preakness?
I mean, he's the long shot that I think has the best chance to do well. Yeah, it's not necessarily because of the distance. It's just more because of he's getting a little more distance to run than his previous race. But I think he's going to get maybe a little more pace in front of him, and that usually if there's more pace, it can help a horse with his style. He's a come-from-behind horse, and the slower they go early, the more detrimental it is to his chances. The faster they go, the better it helps because they get softened up, and he can close into that. So I think he's got a chance to at least run on and be third.
All right, final question for you. How long do you think this investigation goes? Because here's my question. How about if Medina Spirit wins, and then they go to the Belmont, and they still haven't figured it out, and then he wins at the Belmont, and he's a Triple Crown winner, and then they take away the Derby, and he's not a Triple Crown winner.
Right. I mean, that's a possibility, one of many that there are right now regarding the situation. But to your question and regarding the timing of the Belmont, I would be surprised if all of this is resolved by then, because even if the second test confirms the first one, they usually would not disqualify a horse just based on that. There would then be a subsequent investigation. Okay, how did this happen? Why did it happen? And that would go into not only the disqualification of the horse, which would happen, but it would be extremely important in terms of the context for which they then decide the penalty for Bob Baffert.
I promised everybody we'd be a lot more intelligent on this subject listening to Jay, and that we are. Jay, as always, thank you so much. We'll talk to you hopefully before the Belmont. Have a great day. Enjoy the race tomorrow.
All right, guys. Thanks, as always. I appreciate being on with you.
Thanks, Jay. All right, so there you go. It is Medina Spirit second. He likes Midnight Bourbon first, and then Rombauer third.
Such an incredibly weird year for horse racing. It's just so bizarre to have the favorite here. And in the first race, Medina Spirit was, plus 1,500 to go win the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, he was double digits to win, and it's a Baffert horse, and I remember reading people saying, if you're going to give me 10-1 odds with Baffert, you take it. But here's the thing. Are they bending over back? I know there's an investigation going on, but are they bending over backwards for Baffert? Does he get the superstar calls like we talk about in the NBA? Because to have the great Bob Baffert and his legacy tarnished if they take down this Kentucky Derby winner is going to be bad for horse racing altogether, not just Baffert.
But as far as the testing goes this week, you theoretically – Medina Spirit ought to be clean. You've had time to think about this and not apply that topical cream. You would hope, of course, that those tests come back clean.
But going back to another thing he said, which is a question I've been asked by a number of people, and I always brought this question up, is why wasn't the testing done the day before the race? And they would have known that he had it in his system, and they probably would have figured out that it was because of this cream, and he would not have been able to run the Derby. What are they waiting for? Why are they doing it post-race as opposed to pre-race? Lawn Solutions is a locally owned weed control fertilization company that serves the greater Memphis area. They take care of my lawn. Let them take care of your lawn. If you want those weeds gone, you want that green plush, beautiful lawn, be the envy of your neighborhood, you call my friend Brandon Holly today at 901-867-5626. Do it. I'm waiting. I'll wait. Are you calling? 901-867-5626 or online at lawnsolutionsinc.net. Locally owned, family owned and operated. They control the germination of weeds all year long by applying the pre-emergence during the winter months and right now the post-emergence during the summer months. They can take care of any disease your lawn has or any insect infestation. It's Lawn Solutions. They don't use the dyes where it will discolor your patio furniture or anything that's in or around your lawn. It is Lawn Solutions, 901-867-5626 or online at lawnsolutionsinc.net. When we return, Steve Berkowitz, I promise you'll be smarter on the subject of name, image, and likeness after he joins us. Steve Berkowitz from USA Today Sports is next. This is Sports 56 Middays.
Do you know who I am?
Who are you?
I'm Superfly TNT.
Johnny Radio.
Where do you want to be? 1 to 3? Right here with me. Sports 56, 98.5, 96.1 FM, Monday through Friday. This is Sports 56 Happy Hour, your good buddy Johnny Radio.
I got Jeff Allen, the Kia man that'll make you happy in your new ride from Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah. Jeff, what's the scoop?
The scoop is you got to get to Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah to get a 2021 Kia Forte for just $139 a month. Or how about a 2021 Kia Soul, $179 a month, and a 2021 Kia K5 built in America, $199 per month. All 36-month leases and only $30.49 due at signing.
Plus the industry-leading 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty program.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, and let's not forget West Memphis, Arkansas, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com.
Zero security deposit, $650 acquisition fee, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte ME 358 110, MSRP 20,590, Soul M777 6411, MSRP 21960, K5 MG 005197, MSRP 26170, includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license. With approved credit warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 5/31/21. Dealer stock only.
The summer of fun is here now at Mario's Pools. Hi, everybody. This is Dave Woloshin from Mario's Pools on Exeter Road. That beautiful pool, well, it just doesn't happen. So call Mario, and his team will be right there to guide you every step of the way if you want to do it yourself, or they'll do it for you. If you need a replacement pool liner, Mario has the best price against all the major competitors, and by the way, the best selection. Call Mario's Pools, easy, 552-3399. That's 552-3399, or just walk in, so easy, in Germantown on Exeter Road. The great thing about Mario is he always takes that extra step. He gets to know you and your pool. He'll do everything he can to make it perfect. Mario's has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. You can check out the reviews on Facebook. Don't be a slave to your pool. Call Mario Pools today, 552-3399.
Hey, we understand. With everything that's happening, with all the new regulations, maybe you're not ready to come and hang out at Sweetgrass to catch a ball game. We want you to, we really do. And we're open for you to do just that. But we're also offering the next best thing, the new Sweetgrass Tailgate Party Packs. Whether it's wings, house-made dips, sliders, or other Sweetgrass tasty treats, all you have to do is call us or go to sweetgrassmemphis.com to order just what you're dreaming of when you're dreaming of watching sports and enjoying some sweet, sweet Sweetgrass.
Looking for a great place to deposit your money? Try First Bank. Competitive CD rates, a money market that moves with Wall Street prime and interest-bearing checking account options. Not to mention their friendly bankers who make decisions locally. To find out more, stop by one of First Bank's 3 local branches, 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper, 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase, and 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or visit firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage, factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour of Sports 56 Middays is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. About halfway home on this Friday edition of Sports 56 Middays. Greg Gaston, Gabe Kuhn, Eli off today. He will return on Monday. We are your full-service sports talk show, as we have covered today not only the Grizzlies and the NBA, but we've talked NASCAR, we've talked horse racing, and we're about to talk about the name, image, likeness issue, which has been all over the place, and it's going to come to a head here this summer. It's going to come to a head sooner than later. There's been a lot of discussion over the last couple of years, but now it's going to go into effect. But how will it go into effect? Story after story, state after state passing legislation. And to try to put this thing into perspective, I had to go with somebody that's incredibly intelligent and is following this very closely. And that's our friend Steve Berkowitz, sports project reporter and editor for USA Today Sports. You can follow him on Twitter at By Berkowitz, and Steve joins us now on Sports 56 Midday. Steve, how are you?
Good, thanks. I appreciate you calling me incredibly intelligent. That you're in the minority there thinking that, but I certainly appreciate the sentiment.
Well, you've been all over this topic and story after story, so we're just trying to hang on, Gabe and myself. But look, I obviously the premise, we all understand the premise, but the particulars and the timing and when everything's going to go down. But I don't think I was saying anything wrong when I said it's coming to a head. It's going to happen this summer in one form or another. Let me start with this. Recent comments made by NCAA President Mark Emmert. He left his cave for a few hours to, I guess, make some statements. He said he recommends the association's board members approve new rules allowing athletes to make money from their name, image, and likeness rights this summer. He wants to have it before or as close to July 1st. Obviously, he's trying to combat the state legislation that's already passed in a number of different states to go into effect. But I've also heard that that's almost impossible for them to have it done by that time period. What do you think about that possibility for Mark Emmert and the NCAA?
Well, I mean, I think what the NCAA has its eye on is having this in effect for this school year. So whether that's July 1 or August 1, I mean, the target date for the NCAA rules changes, even going back to when they were going to be voted on in January, has been August 1st. So, there being a month's lag time between what the NCAA allows and what state laws in 5 or 6 states allow, could be an issue, but I don't think it's a big issue. And, the NCAA's ability to have this all ramped up by July 1 in the way they've been talking about in terms of having sort of a third-party administrator to keep an eye on the deals, to try to get a sense of what's market rate and things like that. Yeah, I mean, it might be tough to get that all ready to go exactly in the starting blocks by July 1. Or whether or not they'll simply have it voted on by July 1. So, I mean, yeah, there's definitely some questions about the exact timing of this, but yeah, I mean, this is going to happen. This is going to happen in some form or fashion in time for the start of this school year. I have got to believe.
Yeah, it only seems like with the NCAA, they have to jump through some hoops before their legislation becomes reality. They pass the buck very well. Things are delayed, but this is a pressing, extremely important decision that needs to be made and made in a hurry. But so you feel that they will have it in place. Okay, so here's my question, because I haven't read a lot about this. We have read different proposals from states, and I believe it's up to 15 states now that have already passed legislation. And I've read some of the specifics within the states. The thing in Georgia still boggles my mind. I'll ask you about that in a few minutes. But what specifically are we talking about with the NCAA when it comes to name, image, and likeness if they're able to pass this and implement it in time for the start of the new scholastic year?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the question, too. I mean, so far, we've been told, me and other reporters have been told by the NCAA that the basic contours of the rules proposal that was on the table in January have not changed, which was they were going to allow athletes to be able to make money from things like autographs and camps, and, they'd be able to sell memorabilia and so on. But the other big piece of this was that, the schools were going to be able to prohibit athletes' involvement in, NIL deals that conflict with existing institutional sponsorship agreements. So, it sets up that kind of conflict. So for sure, the NCAA's rules were going to open this up in a meaningful and significant way for athletes to be able to make money in ways that they haven't been able to before, and being able to capitalize through their social media followings and so forth. So that's what I basically expect. The wild card here is if the NCAA sort of continues to tread water and waits to see how the Alston decision is rendered by the Supreme Court, that might change things a little bit and, may delay things a little bit in terms of when they vote. The Alston case does not have to do with name, image, and likeness directly, but what the Alston case does have to do with is the issue of the NCAA's ability to make rules changes, and at what level of legal exposure do they have when they make these rules changes, or does the NCAA have sort of the legal autonomy to do this without heavy threat from antitrust lawsuits? And that is potentially an important point here going forward. So, because if you loosen the rules again, you potentially open yourself up to further litigation. So they may want to see what the Supreme Court has to say about all of that. So, it sort of remains to be seen what exactly are the rules that the NCAA adopts.
Well, that becomes a major problem if they're delayed, because the states will go into effect, and the schools within those states will use the state legislation as their go-to, as opposed to any NCAA rule if it has not been enacted by that point. So that's a slippery slope.
Right.
And then,
no, there's no question. Although the state rules, by and large, the state laws that are set to go into effect July 1, by and large, are pretty close to what the NCAA's rough parameters we're talking about in terms of what kind of limits are on athletes and what's allowed. So there's not a big conflict there. The place where there's potential for greater conflict is in the California law, which at the moment is scheduled to come into effect in January 1 of 2023. But there's legislation working through the California legislature that would pull it forward by at least a year and potentially bring it in much closer to when the NCAA rules go into effect. But there are some peculiarities of the California legislative process that make it remain to be seen how all of this is going to play out in terms of timing. So, so far, the state laws that are ready to go are, like I said, they're not wildly off with the NCAA. There are some quirks and some differences, but it's not huge.
Okay, Georgia's a quirk. There's no question that one is. But to clarify what you had said earlier about the January, what you had seen in January, from what you think the general structure is of what the NCAA would pass. So, for example, if it is a Nike school, an individual athlete can't can't make a deal with Under Armour, something like that. They can't go with what the school brand is. But also
the school would be able to prevent that. Yes.
Okay. Is it 100%? And this is where I go to the Georgia thing, which is just like boggling my mind, where the athlete would only get, what was it, Gabe, 20%? Remember the Georgia story?
25%. They could take 75%.
They could take 75% from the athlete, which is ludicrous. In the case of, again, the overall NCAA structure, does the individual athlete, keep 100% of the money that they bring in?
Yes. And in the case of the Georgia provision, the athletics administrators at the University of Georgia and Georgia Tech already have said that they will not impose that requirement. Right. The Georgia law would allow schools to do that, but I think as a practical matter, it seems to me pretty unlikely that schools would do it, because athletes would go elsewhere in the state of Georgia or just elsewhere, period, if they felt like that was an important factor in their college decision. I mean, keep in mind, too, there are going to be a sizable number of athletes for whom name, image, and likeness may not be a big deal and would be no factor in where they decide to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
Now, having said that, I think, there will be lots and lots and lots of athletes who will end up benefiting from this. Athletes who are better positioned on social media now are going to be the ones in the best position to make money on this right off the bat, except, for athletes who have, just, a heavy duty fame or renown just because of who they are. And that's a pretty tight group. So initially, the folks who will do well on this are those that already have big social media followings and those folks that are pretty active on social media. What happens beyond that, you'll have to see how athletes come into it. But I think it'll be pretty widespread. I mean, I think you'll see a lot of women's athletes who do well by this. And I think you will see athletes in so-called non-revenue sports who do well by this.
So Tennessee just signed it. Bill Lee signed the NIL bill, I believe, 2 days ago. Obviously, we talked about the quirks in Georgia. Is there anything quirky about the Tennessee bill, or is it relatively standard?
Not, off the top of my head, and I don't have the law in front of me here, but yeah, that one seemed pretty straightforward. The difference there is that the effective date of that is January of 2022. So, that's a situation where the NCAA taking action would allow athletes in the state of Tennessee to take advantage of the name, image, and likeness stuff before the state law forced the issue.
Mm-hmm. How many states and their law that has already passed go into effect July 1st of this year?
6 right now, and that includes the state of Nebraska, which the way they set up the effective date in an odd sort of way. They said that it is up to the individual schools to determine when to essentially, put the law into effect. They would have to do it by I think it's June 1 of 2023, but they would be able to do it anytime sooner. So in theory, the University of Nebraska at Lincoln could have already said, hey, we're going to allow this for our athletes because Nebraska law allows it. Now, that would have set up a clash with the NCAA that I don't think anybody was terribly excited about, and I don't think Nebraska wanted to make the rest of the Big Ten angry or whatever else and go that route. But they could activate this at any point. So for all intents and purposes, Nebraska is a July 1 as well. Louisiana has a bill that's moving through the legislature that would become effective upon the governor's signature, which means it might become effective in June, but basically by July 1. And then Texas has a bill moving through the legislature that would be effective September 1.
So obviously all these laws are different state to state. And I've seen certain bills, and I don't know if they've gotten through. I don't think they have, but there's been free market approaches where there's no restrictions, more or less. I don't think any of those have gotten passed through.
The fewest level of restrictions are in California.
Right. But with that, can the school have any type of restrictions? How much does the school have in regards to say of over what type of sponsorships their players actually take in.
They would be sued, right? If let's say the NCAA didn't pass anything and the state has already passed the law, and the student athlete goes by the state law, and the school denies that, they would be sued, would they not?
Well, if the state law is prevailing there, I don't see how the school could prevent this from occurring.
Right.
The NCAA might put the school between a rock and a hard place, and so I think that the schools would tend to side with the athletes as opposed to siding with the NCAA there. And I also think to this point, Mark Emmert's comments, at least to the athletes and from what's coming out of the NCAA central office, is that the NCAA is not looking to punish athletes who make deals that are allowed under state laws. I'm not sure that the NCAA has the appetite to go in and sue individual states. And Bob Bowlesby, the commissioner of the Big 12, has pointed out that you would probably need the schools to join the NCAA in a lawsuit against state. And he thinks that few public institutions would be interested in joining a lawsuit in which essentially they're suing their state legislatures.
Steve, whatever came of the talk, this is a while ago, I don't know when, but when the NIL issue really started to heat up, that they were talking about the student athletes being able to sign on with an agent, but the agent wouldn't deal with professional sports and things. It would be basically to have a representative to help them get these deals while in school. Does anything ever come of that?
Yeah, that's going to happen.
So that will happen.
That's going to be allowed. That's going to be allowed by the NCAA rules. That's being allowed by these state laws.
Wow. So that's a part of it. Is that a slippery slope, in your opinion? With agents? Agents have always been taboo in collegiate sports.
Yeah, and yes, it's a slippery slope to the extent that the agent, whether agents would then be continuing to try to represent the athletes on a professional basis. But I think there'll be some delineation in what's allowed in each of those instances. But yeah, is it going to be difficult to regulate that? Sure. But there are lots of things within the NCAA rules construct now that are difficult to regulate. People and schools, athletes in schools that want to stretch the rules or break the rules and risk, getting caught they're already doing that. And no matter what kind of area you're in, that's going to happen no matter what you do. It's very difficult to legislate morality, as people within the NCAA will tell you all the time. So, there are certain aspects of this where, it's going to be very difficult to regulate. Just in the same way, until you get a really seriously established third-party administrator or some other entity to determine what constitutes market value, for these deals, then you're going to have issues there as well. Who determines what the market value is for a particular type of endorsement?
All right, one other question. As far as the gambling casino industry, we know now that schools have deals with sponsors that are casinos and things of that nature. Can athletes have deals with casinos?
By and large, the answer to that is going to be no. The state laws, for the most part, have put into place prohibitions on these deals with gambling enterprises, alcohol, adult entertainment. There are areas where they've drawn lines around that. The interesting thing is that in one of the bills that have been proposed in Congress by Anthony Gonzalez and Emmanuel Cleaver, who's a congressman from Missouri. Anthony Gonzalez is the former Ohio State wide receiver, NFL wide receiver from Ohio. They had put a provision in their bill that said, all right, athletes can't have deals in these areas, except that if the schools determine that the athletes can't have a deal in that area, then the school can't have a deal in that area. So the school would be a school that has a sponsorship would have with a casino would essentially have to make a decision. Do you want to continue with the school deal with the casino and prevent and allow athletes to have those deals, or if you want to prevent the athletes from having those deals, then you have to allow the athletes to potentially make deals with casinos as well.
So quick answer to this, because I have been following the Gonzalez proposal. Do you like it or not?
I'm not sure. Well, I'm not sure that I liking any one proposal over another at this point.
Right.
I think it will be interesting to see how Congress, and particularly people who are in the Senate Commerce Committee, will coalesce, or whether they'll coalesce around a bill, whether or not that tends to take more from the more aggressive approach that is being offered by Chris Murphy and the senator from Connecticut, and Lori Trahan, who's a congressman from Massachusetts, and Cory Booker and Richard Blumenthal, who are senators who offered the so-called Athletes' Bill of Rights in December, or whether it'll be more like what Senator Jerry Moran from Kansas has proposed, which has a little bit of this. It has some consideration for the NCAA, has some consideration for the athletes, and he pitches that as sort of being a compromise bill, but it's hard to say whether or not, that goes far enough for folks like Richard Blumenthal and Cory Booker in terms of providing benefits to athletes, because what the NCAA wants, in addition to standardization of the NIL rules, what the NCAA wants from Congress is some type of legal protection to prevent them from being sued going forward. Now, whether or not that constitutes an antitrust exemption or a more narrowly drawn type of protection remains to be seen. But that's, because the NCAA wants that, then other senators are saying, well, if we give you that, then you have to do more for the athletes than just allow them to make money from their name, image, and likeness.
Still mind-boggling, but man, you crushed it, Steve, as I knew you would do. Thank you so much for giving our listeners the insight on what is going on in a very complicated issue. He's the Sports Project reporter and editor for USA Today Sports. He's Steve Berkowitz. Make sure to follow him on Twitter at @ByBerkowitz. Steve, I'll be following. Thank you so much,
Steve.
as always.
Thanks a lot for having me on.
Take care. Okay, I know a lot more about it now listening to him. But, man, there is still a lot to go, and it is going to be incredibly complicated when the states start enacting on July 1st and the NCAA still hasn't passed anything.
And I trying to figure out what the NCAA blanket rule, which it seems inevitable at this point, is going to look like, is just mind-boggling as well. Like,
exactly.
What will that be?
We'll take a break, come back with our final segment in hour 2. Michael Wallace joins us at 12:05 to talk Grizzlies. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 98.5.
We are Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM, 98.5 FM, and 96.1 FM. As well as online around the world at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere on your phone or tablet by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, tell Google or Alexa to play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies. We will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Fiveash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Fiveash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
No one outfits golfers better than Edwin Watts Golf Shops. We've been fitting golfers since 1968. Utilizing cutting-edge fitting technology, we'll analyze your swing and our Foresight launch monitors and fit you with the perfect club, pair of shoes, the latest golf apparel, golf balls, bags, and more. So come by today for your complete custom fitting. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee.
A good friend of mine told me about this awesome place for lunch.
Oh, yeah? What's the name?
Neil's Grill and Bar, where the fat man rocks. Everybody knows Neil.
Where's it located?
It's located in Yorkshire Square off of Quince.
And what's it like?
The best lunch place in Memphis. You know, like real mashed potatoes and gravy. Everything is made from scratch. Monday through Friday, daily lunch specials like Monday baked chicken, Tuesday chicken fried steak, yum, fried chicken livers every Wednesday, Friday Salisbury steak, barbecue chicken, or if you just want a vegetable plate, the best veggies in town.
What about the lunch price?
Meat and 2 veggies, $7.95. Meat and 3 veggies, $9.99. And veggie plate, $8.95. Big fat boy portions, man.
Man, you're making me hungry.
Come hear the best live local music at Neil's. Mondays karaoke, Tuesdays Debbie Jameson, Wednesdays Elmo and the Shades, Thursdays Eddie Smith, and the best Memphis music all weekend at Neil's Bar and Grill,
where the fat man rocks.
Start your engines Mid-South and get ready to ride in your new Mitsubishi from Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike. Who doesn't want 41 mpg highway today? We Gossett with 2021 Mitsubishi Mirage G4, $14,647 or $179 a month. And take your pick with dynamic redesign in your 2022 Outlander or 2022 all-new Eclipse Cross, now $309 a month. All powered by a stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Plus, test drive today and you'll receive a free gift card on us. So get to Gossett Mitsubishi today, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 500 military rebate, G4 stock number MHF 06296, MSRP 17735, Outlander NZ00 8245, MSRP 27260, Cross NZ00 4494, MSRP 27725, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax not on license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 5/31/2021, dealer stock only.
Hey, if you're hungry for great Mexican food for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, got it. La Guadalupana, La Guadalupana, Guadalupana. Choose from tacos, burritos, enchiladas, sizzling shrimp, beef or chicken fajitas, and even a Cuban sandwich filled with Mexican sausage, chicken, ham, steak, jalapenos, avocado. Add a nice cold beer to your super nachos. Top with melted cheese, beans, sour cream, guacamole, tomato, and jalapenos. Great prices, generous portions, great service at 3 locations: Summer Avenue, Cordova Road in Winchester. La Guadalupana.
Looking for some action on your favorite games? Action247.com is at your service. Action 24/7 free-to-play games are brought to you by Tennesseans for Tennesseans. Come play with us online at Action247.com. Our free-to-play games are fun and easy. Go to Action247.com and click Let's Play. And best of all, you can win cash prizes. That's right, cash prizes. Free to play online at Action247.com. You got action.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. This hour of Sports 56 Middays is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
All right, so we've all been following the Deshaun Watson case with all the masseuses, and many now have gone to the police for criminal charges against Watson. Obviously, the civil suits that are out there. Okay, that's got a life of its own, right? Well, this story just, and I bring it up and I compare it to Watson. I'm not comparing the stories, but it also involves a masseuse. But kind of going the other way. A massage therapist has been barred from Ohio State's campus and from having any interaction with Ohio State athletics members after an independent investigation found she had engaged in inappropriate and exploitative behavior targeting members of the Buckeyes football team. The university released statements and a full report on the investigation, concluding that the massage therapist had no affiliation with the university or its athletics department, and that the school does not believe any NCAA rules were violated. The massage therapist is a 41-year-old woman who lives roughly 2 hours north of campus and obtained her massage therapy license in 2009 in Ohio. She claims to have had clients in the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, NHL, and NCAA football. An investigation began after a complaint filed on March 14, 2020, with the State Medical Board of Ohio that alleged a female licensed massage therapist was offering free therapeutic massages to members of the Ohio State football team. She had been using the massages as a means to initiate sexual interactions with some of the football student athletes and then demanding payment, according to the investigation report.
Yeah, not good. Not good at all.
No, it's not good. And then, of course, you start to think, out of all those women that were involved with Watson, could any of them been?
And also, this was another one where social media engaged these sort of conversations and everything else. Like social media, for whatever reason right now, I don't get in touch with a masseuse over social media. Go through the proper means.
It's hard to believe, though, 22. How many is it now with Watson? 22?
22.
22.
Give or take.
That there's not at least some of them with serious allegations that they were sexually assaulted in a sense that they were unwarranted and not consensual and all that stuff. But there's possibly a few that fall into that category.
I would imagine, yes, a few.
So this is happening with Ohio State. So how often did, as a Tiger, did you guys get massages?
You don't get massages off of without.
There's not a team masseuse, right?
No, but like the trainers, there's several trainers in there that can give you massages on what you need a massage on. It's not.
And you would think at Ohio State there'd be a bunch of them,
and not to
right?
mention, again, like, go through the proper channels to get a masseuse. You don't go through Instagram to find masseuses. You just don't. This is not. It's not a normal practice unless you're looking for something else.
And maybe they were looking for something else.
And that's a possibility as well. So I just think these. And yes, you're right to bring up the Deshaun Watson case in this instance. This is very, very similar. So you're not wrong for comparing these, but it is the opposite, and it's sort of it's interesting to see something like this happen around the same time this Deshaun Watson case is taking place.
Well, I bring it up because I saw that she has dealt with NBA, NHL, NFL, Major League Baseball players, collegiate players as well. Again, I don't know what the deal is with 22 different women with Deshaun Watson and how many other clients they've had that are athletes.
Now, granted, that's according to her. She was also, at one point during the story, I saw that she was reaching out to recruits to say that she works with Ohio State football players.
Wow.
Directly. So she sounds like she's a piece of work, and she has been very.
She's a prostitute, basically pretending she's a masseuse.
Yes,
that's what.
But
she
apparently,
is.
for a majority of the clients she took care of, there was no sexual acts. But regardless of the situation, it's very, very bad, and I'm wondering how this is going to work out with Ohio
Now,
State.
Bobby Kraft was involved. Then we're talking. Hour 3 on the way. Michael Wallace, speaking of talking, he's going to talk Grizzlies when we return. We'll preview the big game on Sunday with Golden State, the prospects for the Memphis Grizzlies. Then later on in the hour, 10 in a row, the game show that has swept the nation. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 98.5.
Gossett Kia on Covington Pike is celebrating Memorial Day all month long, and we can put you in a new Kia for less than $5 a day. 2021 Kia Forte, $139 a month. 2021 Kia Soul, $179 a month. And 2021 Kia K5, built in America, $199 a month. All 36-month leases, only $3,049 to its signing. Plus, peace of mind you can trust with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Forte, $139 a month lease. Soul, $179 a month lease. K5, $199 a month lease. So hurry to Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, online, KiaCovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Zero security deposit, $650 acquisition fee, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Forte ME 358110, MSRP 20,590. Soul M777 6411, MSRP 21960. K5 MG 005197, MSRP 26170. Includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license with approved credit. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 5/31/2021. Dealer stock only.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
If you're going on vacation, making a college campus visit, or if business takes you out of town, there's just no better place to board your dog than Barks and Recreation, 965 Reddick Cove between Bud Davis Cadillac and the Blue Plate Cafe in East Memphis. Boarding, daycare, grooming, we have the best of everything at Barks. Indoor-outdoor kennels so your family member can go in and out as they please. Indoor and outdoor play areas. 4 walks a day, group play, and individual attention from the best staff in the Mid-South, which includes an overnight staff to ensure the safety and comfort of your pet 24 hours a day. All reasons to choose Barks and Recreation above all other boarding and daycare facilities. BarksDaycare.com or 509-0909. Check us out and make your reservations now at BarksDaycare.com. If your dog could speak, he'd say Barks.
Hey, we get it. You don't want to be hearing a Progressive commercial right now, so let us tell you something you do want to hear. No one is funnier than you. People laugh just thinking about the things you've said. I'm laughing at one of them right now. Coworkers repeat your jokes at the office, but they're never as good as when you tell them, and shame on them for trying. There. Don't you feel better? You'll also feel better knowing you could save when you bundle home and auto with Progressive. Although I'm sure you'd have a funnier way to say that. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
Farmers Insurance knows that when you're in the car and that song comes on, yes, that's the one, you have no choice but to pull out your imaginary drumsticks and smash those cymbals and stomp on that kick pedal, which unfortunately is the accelerator pedal. And we covered it. Talk to a farmer's agent who knows a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two.
Call Chad Gatlin at 901-235-1176 or get a fast quote at memphisfarmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
First Bank is here to help you, whether you're a business looking for a loan to expand or refinance an existing one, a homeowner looking for a mortgage or home equity line, a consumer wanting to finance your dream car, or wanting a competitive rate on your CD deposits. Let First Bank try to handle your banking needs. Stop into one of First Bank's 3 local branches today, 6482 Poplar Avenue just east of International Paper, 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase, and 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or check them out online at firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Everyone's watching to see what you do. Everyone's looking at you.
Welcome back, everybody. Final hour for us today here on Sports 56 Middays. Final hour for us this week. Greg Gaston, Gabe Kuhn, Eli off today. He'll return to the show on Monday. Just an absolutely gorgeous day here in Memphis as you get your weekend started. The barbecue fest going on. It's not full-blown barbecue fest, but still, even with half the teams, it's nice to see people down there. And again, if you have not purchased your ticket online, you can't just walk down there and buy a ticket from the ticket booth. They're not doing that, so got to make sure that it's online. I think it may already been sold out for today, if I'm not mistaken. Not sure about tomorrow, but go ahead and check that online. But it's nice to know that the Barbecue Fest, at least to some degree, is happening here in Memphis. We are in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. We've talked a lot about the Grizzlies to start the show. We want to continue that conversation. The Grizz in action tonight against the Kings and then a really important game Sunday at Golden State to wrap up the regular season. It is always a pleasure to talk Grizzlies with our friend Michael Wallace, senior editor, contributor, and analyst for Grind City Media. You can follow him on Twitter at MyMikeCheck, and he joins us now on Sports 56 Middays. Hello, Michael.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How you doing? Thanks for having me again. It's always a pleasure to be on with you.
Michael, it's a pleasure to have you. And before we start talking about the Grizzlies, I just want to say what a wonderful tribute to your wife with LaShawn's Meadow. I've been following that on Twitter and watching the videos, and just for you and your family to do that. And I just can't tell you how, it brought a tear to my eye and to many people's eye, but I think that's just an amazing tribute to your late wife.
Greg, I really appreciate that, man. Thanks a lot. And, thanks to the city of Memphis, Memphis River Parks Partnership. So many people, man, have been touched by my wife, and I know she meant a lot and means a lot, her legacy to my family, but also to Memphis. And, LaShawn's Meadow down there is a place where, for some time to come, it's going to be a beautiful place where families come together and children of all walks of life, man. And that's what her spirit was all about. And her spirit resonates there too. And it's a special place. So thanks to them. And also I want to give a thanks as well to the Junior League of Memphis, because this past week I was also able to present the LaShawn Wallace Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Award, the first annual one that they gave to their Volunteer of the Year. And it's just a beautiful testimony and testament to everything that this city means to my family and what we mean to this city. So thank you for pointing that out, man. I appreciate that.
And this city should be so happy to have you and your family here, Michael. I know you've been here for a while now, but when you came, and you've been a friend of the show, and we can't say enough great things about you and your family and your late wife. So thank you again. Thanks for joining us. Yep. All right, let's get into the hoops. Let's get into the basketball. Tonight, a game that really doesn't mean much. So I would assume, Michael, although Taylor Jenkins said nothing yesterday in the Zoom presser after the game about players he'll play, players he won't play, starting lineups and things of that nature, would you imagine, like I'm imagining, that we will not more than likely see starters tonight?
Yeah, I wouldn't think that we would see starters. This will be and again, I say this not knowing anything as of yet. The injury report and update will probably come out within the next hour. But I would be shocked. Obviously, Jaren Jackson is not going to be out there. He doesn't play both ends of a back-to-back. No reason to start that today. Jonas was dealing with a little bit of a back soreness that he played with yesterday. So I expect him to be sidelined as well. And then it's just a matter of, Dylan has played a lot of minutes the last couple games. So is Ja. You have Tyus as a backup there. You have Tim Frazier you can go to there, and John Conchar can also handle the ball. So I would expect those guys to get to the bulk of the backcourt minutes. And then we'll see from there. Obviously Brandon Clark and Xavier Tillman and Desmond Bain are guys that can use some extended playing time. And then Killian Tilly. So, yeah, there will be some guys that you normally don't see in the rotation getting heavy minutes that will get heavy minutes tonight, if not outright starting.
So we know how important Sunday's going to be. Obviously, if the Grizzlies can take care of business, then they'll only need to win one game in the play-in to go to the NBA playoffs. If not, they'll have to win two. How do you beat Golden State with the way Steph Curry's playing?
You got to keep yourself close first and foremost. I mean, this is one of those deals where, they win close games because they are able to get the ball to Steph Curry, and he does heroic things. And, what I am encouraged by, though, is that in that game, Dylan Brooks probably won't be the primary defender on Steph because he runs through so many screens. But I think they're going to show a different number of guys that they're going to throw at Curry. And just you got to extend your defense all the way out. Basically, once he crosses half court, he's within his range. That's also a home game for Golden State. They, for whatever reason, the NBA granted them a closing schedule in which their final 6 games are all at home. I can't believe that, man. That's unbelievable. So they get that, and not only do they get that benefit, they also get the benefit of it being an early afternoon matinee tip. So the Grizzlies got to travel halfway across the country and play 3 hours or 4 hours earlier than they normally would be playing, or 7 hours earlier locally. You know what I mean? In San Francisco. So Man, that's it's stacked up against the Grizzlies, but at the end of the day, so much has been stacked up against this team that they found a way to answer adversity almost every time.
And no question about it. Tall task, but we have seen this team from time and time again, as you mentioned. The Dallas game the other night, I thought they were waving the white flag. No Valanciunas, no Jaren Jackson Jr., no Grayson Allen, who's still out. No problem. They win going away by 29 points. And then last night, a Kings team that's completely out with their stars, except for Buddy Hield with injuries. So they have been ripped apart by the injury bug. And yet it took a really good lockdown defensively the last 4 or 5 minutes and a couple of clutch shots to win that game. It's still a team in the Grizzlies, Michael, that I think has overachieved, but they have been puzzling because from game to game, you don't know what you're going to see, and it does seem like they either elevate or drop to the level of the competition.
That's a great way, and that's a fair way to look at it too, because puzzling is such a accurate description of what this team is. Because from night to night, although they do give, they play together, they find a way. They do have these sort of ups and downs and peaks and valleys. I mean, they could be full strength and go and lose to Orlando and Detroit, and then they could be shorthanded and go beat the Dallas Mavericks. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or Milwaukee, for that matter, on the road. So it's one of those situations where that's where Taylor Jenkins' final frontier is to get this team to be consistent with its execution night in and night out, regardless of what the jersey of the opponent says. And that's one of the things that they won't have that problem, after tonight, because you got Golden State, which is a 3-time champion with big-time stars available. And then after that, you got the play-in. So you're either looking at the Los Angeles Lakers or Portland Trail Blazers team, or Dallas or whatever, however that shakes out. And then if you get to 9, you're looking at San Antonio, which, again, that's a sentimental rivalry too, because Popovich and obviously Taylor go way back. But also they still have that championship pedigree as well in San Antonio. So they're going to, whoever the Grizzlies emerge playing in this play-in, they're going to get their full undivided attention, no doubt.
So Jaren, it seems that offensively, I think he's getting close to where he was before the injury. But defensively, you're still seeing some of the same things. What types of things do you think will get him on track defensively? Or do you think it's just still that he's a young player trying to find his way on that side of the ball?
I think the games, you know what I mean? Although he's in his 3rd season, he's missed a ton of games, you know what I mean, each step of the way. And rhythm is going to have to come there for him. He's going to have to learn his body. He's he's such a unicorn, a freak of nature. He's growing still, 7 feet tall now. Every time you see him run up and down the court, I'm amazed at how long his legs and arms are. It's just all legs and arms. So when he's going to make a defensive play, he gets himself in positions where, he's compromised a lot. And that's something that he's going to have to learn how to do, play in space, play in crowds as well defensively. But when he's on his game defensively, he can be a game changer. So it's just a matter of him getting the reps and the comfort level with the guys that he's playing with. And frankly, some of the perimeter guys on the Grizzlies can do him a favor by being better on-ball defenders, so they're not switching and rotating as much and putting him in bad spots once they get beat off the dribble. So that all of those things are factors with Jaren and finding his comfort zone defensively.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head, and he is, and I was talking about this earlier, he is a freak in nature, an athlete like him. You don't find them that often. But there are times on the floor where he's kind of falling. He almost reminds me of a fawn. Like a newborn fawn. Like his legs are slipping out from under him. He's getting balls wrestled away from him on rebounds, on 50-50 balls. He seems like he needs to really get stronger. But my question is this, because last night, I'll be honest, if he was in the game the last 5 minutes, I don't think they win. I think the move that Taylor Jenkins made, and he brought Bane in, I think, with the rest of the starters, and they locked down Sacramento defensively. It may have been just one night, and I agree wholeheartedly with what you said. But on Sunday at Golden State, if that lineup's out there and it's not working, and Jaren's struggling defensively, I don't think they can afford to have him in there, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And you know what? And we've seen Taylor make some adjustments with that. And that's one of the things I remember a couple of weeks ago when, it was apparent that the obvious Justice Winslow experiment in that lineup didn't, get the results that they were expecting, and they just wanted to, see how it worked. And then after a certain amount of games, it was like, okay, let's go back and figure out something else. And he's been able to do that. And when you have the luxury of health for the most part, you can do that because if you need to downshift and go to other players, they can step up. Now, what helped them against Sacramento is that they all of a sudden started defending the three-point line a lot better. They were contesting a lot more shots. And Sacramento sort of fell off a cliff when it came to their accuracy late in the fourth quarter from three-point range. So whatever you got to do to make those adjustments, those are all good signs. And Taylor said he was going to use these last couple of weeks of the regular season to figure out, okay, what adjustments in game need to be made. And guys don't go to the bench pouting because they know they'll get their chance again in the next shift or the next quarter or the next game even. So that's a good thing to have.
So with Justice, when you mentioned Justice Winslow and sort of the experiment they had with him running with the second group as the point guard, and this year I think it was tough for him, coming off an injury, being out for so long, not being able to create that synergy with the guys on the floor. But last few games he has gotten basically 0 minutes until the end. I mean, he gets in there with Killian Tilly and Sean McDermott and everybody like that. What's your feel going into this offseason? Is there a plan for Justice Winslow still?
I think they're going to evaluate that. And I think all things and all options are on the table. It's no secret that Justice is going into an option year in his contract at around $13 million. And the team will have to make the decision whether they want to pick that option up and keep him for one more year or decline that option and allow him to enter unrestricted free agency, basically. So it's a matter of, number one, it's an accounting issue, first and foremost, in terms of whether they want to clear maximum cap space this summer to try to make a bigger play in free agency, or they re-sign him or pick up the option. And then if he works out, you give him an off season to get his body right, get it fully healthy going into training camp next year and see where he is then. And if it doesn't work out, then he becomes a $13 million potential trade chip that you can have if you want to make other moves like they did to acquire him. So I think the Grizzlies are going to look at flexibility, but first and foremost, they still believe that Justice can be a piece that they can work with. It's just he needs a little more time, and that's to be expected for a guy that's missed the better part of 2 seasons now.
What does your gut tell you on the option? Do they pick it up?
I think so, because I don't think they lose anything by picking it up from that standpoint. Unless they're going into free agency looking at and identifying someone that they truly believe that they can get with the money and the space that they create. I would say you go ahead and pick it up because at the end of the day, you still can use that leverage of $13 million in a trade with a couple of other pieces as well. So I would think just from an accounting standpoint, regardless of what Justice is or is not going to be for this team, you pick it up and then you move forward to give yourself even more options down the line.
We are watching the continual improvement of Dylan Brooks, who has become such a lockdown defender and obviously an offensive threat where he can go off any game, knocking down threes or getting to the basket with his strength, Michael. Dylan Brooks, what an asset. What he has become as a second-round pick and what they gave him in a contract where some people shook their heads a little bit, I think is well worth every penny.
I agree. And that's what I'm saying. That's why when you look at what this front office has done, with Zach Kleiman, Rich Cho, Tayshaun Prince, Grunwald, all of these guys, what they've done is they've assembled a team of guys who have all, and you can argue to say, each one of these guys have outperformed their contract. And, Jonas Valanciunas, career year, 48 double-doubles, about to set the franchise record for double-doubles in the season and all of that. He's outperformed his deal because he's making, less than $17 million. Remember, Gorgie Jang was the highest paid player on the roster before he was traded. You go down the line. Kyle Anderson is in the midst of a career year, one of the breakthrough seasons of his career. He's right around the mid-level. You just keep going. I mean, DeAnthony Melton obviously is outperformed where he was. He's a bargain on that kind of deal. And Dylan Brooks signed the extension. And, he's a guy, listen, in an ideal situation, he's your sixth man for a contending championship-type team. But for him to be able to start and bring the mental toughness on both ends of the floor that he brings, he's a frontline guy. And I've loved him since we drafted him, in the second round at 45.
Me too.
In the second round. And what we saw in him was a guy that was fearless coming in defensively. Remember, he's the last holdover from the last part of that core four type era. You know what I'm saying? So he came in and he had to earn his way, and he's done that, and he hasn't disappointed at all this year.
Go ahead, Gabe.
So you mentioned DeAnthony Melton overperforming. Grayson Allen has overperformed, no question. And right now it seems like there's a relative log jam at that too for perimeter guys, for perimeter players that shoot the three ball. What's your feel of how that will play itself out between Grayson Allen, Desmond Bane, DeAnthony Melton?
That's a great question, right? So the thing I would say is that we've been asking that same question. Remember, that was the question coming into the year.
Right.
How would it play out? How would it play out? We couldn't find, a rotation and a role for those guys. That starting two guard spot was up for grabs, and how could Taylor, how was he going to navigate it? And what you've seen is through attrition, through injuries, through an enormous amount of games and a relentless schedule, that it has worked out. Each one of those guys has been productive. Desmond Bane is a steal at number 30. You know what I mean? Grayson Allen, as you said, is having the most productive season of his career in year 2, year 3. And then obviously DeAnthony Melton has been everything that he needed to be whenever you get him out there. So just because you're going to have flexibility, you're going to go through injuries, and you're going to go through all of that. I think the case was made this year that you needed all three of them. Because if you had one fewer guy to rely on, then that means you're suddenly go from a blessing of wings to very, very thin at that position. And the Grizzlies are fine. The one guy you didn't even mention is John Conchar, who came off of his career high the other night playing that wing position too. So when you add him in there are 4 guys that they could just throw in the bag at any given night, pick one of them out, and he's going to go out there and try to be productive.
Yeah, and not to mention that Melton and Allen have been injured at times this year, so they need that depth. And Allen is still injured. I know you're not privy to the inside information on injuries, but from what you've gathered and what you think, is Grayson Allen going to be back for maybe Sunday or the play-in?
It's iffy right now with Grayson. I know this is a little bit more extended of an injury than what we've discussed or what the Grizzlies have even put out in terms of that. Taylor alluded to it last night when he said it's more of a week-to-week thing. Well, we don't have many weeks left in this season, right? We're down to the last week when it comes to it. So, having heard that, I'm skeptical in terms of when he might be able to come back. And it's such a shame, too, because every time he rounds that corner and comes out and gives you, all the upside that he can be, he runs into not just a regular injury, but a freak injury. You know what I mean? One of them was a concussion that kept him out, and then he had the COVID health and safety protocol issue earlier before that kept him out. Last year was a freak hip injury that knocked him out of his rhythm. And so it's not even – and right now it's a hand situation. So it's like it's not like a basic ankle or a knee that has bothered Grayson. It's been some of these freak injuries, and it's unfortunate. But, yeah, if he's not available, then, as Taylor would tell you, next man up. And when he is available, if the Grizzlies can extend their season, then I'm sure he's going to be plug and play and ready to go again.
So transitioning back to Sunday, most important game of the season, most important game here in a few years for the Grizzlies. What are going to be the keys? And also, I'm sort of looking at what the Warriors have done since the All-Star break, and they've sort of embraced that small ball attitude. Kevon Looney obviously starts the game but doesn't usually get all that many minutes. Is this going to be a game where JV might not be able to be on the floor all that much?
That's what they're going to try to do, and they've always tried to do that. They've always downshifted and forced JV or Marc Gasol back in the day to have to, keep up with a Draymond Green or a small ball 5 and chase them all around. Now, one of the things that I was totally impressed by last night was JV made the defensive play of the game when he got caught on a switch in the final minutes of that game and ended up chasing the guard into a turnover, chasing DeLon Wright into a turnover and a 24-second shot clock violation. And that was because he followed DeLon for maybe 12 seconds of that on a switch. He's going to have to be able to do that same kind of thing in order to give himself a chance to be impactful on the offensive side, because guess what, guys? They got to guard him too. And JV is a guy that puts a lot of pressure on your front line, particularly on offensive glass, to be able to hold him out of the lane. So it's a mismatch both ways. It's just whoever is going to dictate that, it's going to be a clash of styles. And it's going to be a great game. I'm looking forward to it. But we also know if the Grizzlies have to go small, they can do that too. Desmond Bane, Brandon Clark are guys that they can shift down to who are a little more versatile in terms of defensive posturing and that kind of thing. So, we'll see. It's going to be a great matchup. The Grizzlies won't back down from that challenge by any stretch, though. I think they're going to be completely locked in. Because, again, you have a chance to control your destiny from that standpoint. Right. And that game is essentially a postseason game that just happens to be the final game of the regular season.
And JV trying to be MJ last night with that dunk.
See, you called it MJ. Brevin Knight called him Dr. J. So, it's one of those deals where, it was a Statue of Liberty-esque dunk where he kind of did actually, it looked more like George Gervin to me in terms of the way he kind of, or Connie Hawkins in terms of the way he kind of reached back and dunked it over the rim.
Hawkins is perfect, and we're old school enough to remember Connie Hawkins. But the reason I brought MJ up was because I saw video, I think maybe yesterday afternoon or the day before, when he was at North Carolina, and he had that double pump dunk. And I thought, JV didn't double pump it, but I just thought, oh my gosh, look at him being as athletic as he possibly can. That was a great moment last night.
The celebration was the best part of the entire thing.
I know. Look, man, every time people say, the future is not going to involve JV. Well, I don't know. I'm not so sure that it won't the way the guy's playing, but I can't wait for Sunday, like Michael said, as the Grizzlies have a huge one with the Golden State Warriors, and let's keep the season going as long as it possibly can. He is the senior editor, contributor, and analyst for Grind City Media. You can follow him on Twitter at @MyMikeCheck. He's our good friend, Michael Wallace. Michael, as always, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Michael.
Hey, anytime, guys. You take care. Have a great rest of the show.
You too. Take care. Well, not the rest of the show because he's not hosting with us, but have a good rest of your day. See what I said? I said me too. I said you too. You know how you say that? Hey, have a good day. You too. You said have a good rest of the show. I said you too.
It's like when you're getting food. Enjoy your food. You too. And you just want to crawl into a hole.
Exactly. All right, we'll take a timeout, come back with our final half hour of the program right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 98.5.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio. We are Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1.
Gossett Kia on Covington Pike is celebrating Memorial Day all month long, and we can put you in a new Kia for less than $5 a day. 2021 Kia Forte, $139 a month. 2021 Kia Soul, $179 a month. And 2021 Kia K5, built in America, $199 a month. All 36-month leases, only $3,049 due at signing. Plus, peace of mind you can trust with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Forte, $139 a month lease. Soul, $179 a month lease. K5, $199 a month lease. So hurry to Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, online, KiaCovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
0 security deposit, $650 acquisition fee, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Forte ME 358110, MSRP 20,590. Soul M777 6411, MSRP 21960. K5 MG 005197, MSRP 26170. Includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license with approved credit. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 5/31/2021. Dealer stock only.
It's happening again at Family Leisure. Don't miss out again this summer because pools are going fast. Spas in stock now too, and they're ready for delivery. New 2021 patio furniture, state-of-the-art in stock now, and up to 20% off select sets. Swing into spring with a brand new play gym, professional installation available. The temperature's rising, and so is the service at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road, where family and fun come together.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Come on, one more rep. You got this. 10. There it is. Nice work, man. You're a beast.
Thanks, man. I feel better than I have in years. And I got to tell you, taking Nugenix makes a huge difference for me.
Nugenix? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas. The big hurt, right?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is Testofen, which helps boost free testosterone levels and increase lean muscle mass.
Well, it's clearly working for you. Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, Nugenix is a great way to increase lean muscle and feel stronger with more energy and endurance.
Man, I need to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix.
No problem. You just got to send them a text. Text both to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help get you back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text BOTH to 42424. That's both to 42424.
Whether you're driving for distance, pitching for precision, or putting to win it all, come to Edwin Watts Golf Shop to get custom fit for all your clubs throughout your bag. Hit a few balls and let our team show you the latest swing technology and data that will help optimize your game. Having each club tailored to become your gamers will help you start shooting lower scores. Let Edwin Watts Golf Shops help you make every shot the perfect one. Come in and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Cold wet December day, we touch the ground in champagne. Snow is melting on the ground. Yes, I heard the sound of an angel.
Welcome back, everybody. 12:30 the time. Final half hour for us today here on Sports 56 Middays. A little bit later on in the half hour, we'll play 10 in a row, the game show that has swept the nation. The topic will be Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks. I'll give you a little hint. You know, Hard Knocks, the show that's on HBO, dealing with the National Football League. Got a $25 gift card to Sweetgrass and $25 in piggy bucks from Central Barbecue. That'll be on the line when we play 10 in a row in just a few moments. By the way, they announced yesterday officially the Egg Bowl will be played on Thanksgiving the next 2 years. I mean, normally it is, but not always. So they made it official for 2021 and 2022 that the game will be played on Thanksgiving in 2021. Starkville, and in 2022 will be in Oxford. Well, right now, a very special guest as one of our great sponsors here on Sports 56 is Mid-South Hobbies and Games. I'm sure you've been there. If not, you've been by it. It's been around for a while at 4862 Summer Avenue. The owner is Mo Hine, and he's going to join us, talk a little bit about his store. And Mo joins us now on Sports 56 Middays. Hey, Mo, how are you?
Well, I am doing great. How are you today?
Doing fantastic. Thanks for joining us. I know folks have heard the spots. They know of it, and I'm sure many have been there. But tell us a little bit about what's going on at Mid-South Hobbies and Games.
Well, all righty. Be more than happy to. Love to. We've been around 25 years this year. We are 16,800 square feet of toys and fun, I guess. We're big into radio-controlled cars and trucks. Carry the full line of Traxxas and Arma. We do radio-controlled airplanes, model railroading. We got 3,000 plastic models, 10,000 paints, comic books, you name it. If it's a hobby of that type, we've got it. And tremendous number of dedicated customers. We've had fun for 25 years and hopefully a long time to come.
Mo, as the years have gone by, and I go back to many, many years when I was a kid, you always got the model airplanes and the ships, and you put them together, and sometimes you did it with your father or your mom or your brother or your sister. It was always a fun time. Then, of course, video games are out, and they're all over the place. Is that still something that's popular? Is getting a model and putting it together, whether it be a plane or a boat or what have you?
Greg, it's been interesting for the last year with the pandemic going on. We've seen more and more of that. The plastic modeling has become more of an adult hobby, but we're seeing more and more kids come in with their fathers and mothers, whatever, and having something to do at home. And this is really great. We're sort of the anti-electronic game hobby.
Exactly.
We don't do electronic games. We want you to use your hands and use your mind. And we're seeing much more of that in the last year and a half.
That's the way I always was. That's the way I hope my grandchildren will be. Mo Hine joining us from Mid-South Hobbies and Games. So what's hot right now, especially in the last 6 months? You've been talking about parents and their kids coming in during the pandemic. What's hot right now over at your store?
By far the hottest thing is radio-controlled cars and trucks. We've got them from about $120 to a little right around $1,000. And this is something that you can do alone outdoors. You can do with a group if you all have different trucks and cars. You can do as a family. We have mothers and fathers, husbands and wives that have their own cars and their kids have cars. It's something that it's an action type hobby. You're outdoors. You're playing. Again, when you break something, you got to fix it. So there's mechanics involved. It's just we've seen an awful lot of that again during the last year plus. It's been strong for us all these years, but it's really taken off.
Have they changed over the years? Is it different from 25 years ago?
It's in some ways much better. Everything is faster. You can get right off the shelf. You can buy a car that goes 100 miles an hour.
Jeez.
Now not everybody can drive them at 100 miles an hour, which is good for us because they need parts. But just your standard vehicles are going 30, 35 miles an hour. Put a brushless motor in it, and it's going 50 and 60 miles an hour. And then you can step up to the big boy, the XO1, at 100 miles an hour. Got a strong group of guys that drag race these things, and then 90% of the people just want to play.
You're over at 4862 Summer Avenue, and like you said, you've been there for 25 years. Give everybody the phone number, and the website. I assume you have a website as well?
We do. It's not really interactive. It's just informational, but it's midsouthhobbies.com. And the phone number here is, of course, area code 901-682-9402. And we're open 7 days a week. Monday through Saturday, we're here 10 to 6. Sunday, we're here 12 to 4.
I would suggest if anybody has a question, just to stop by or give Mo a call. He will answer that question for you. And again, so much to choose from, so many things when you're looking for hobbies and just basically to have fun at home, whether it be with your family or by yourself. It is Mid-South Hobbies and Games, 4862 Summer Avenue. Mo, it's been a pleasure having you on the program. Want to wish you continued success, and thanks for joining us.
Well, Greg, thank you very much, and I enjoy listening to you.
Thank you very much. Take care. Mo Hine from Mid-South Hobbies and Games. When I was a kid, that was huge. Now I was just wondering about today. And he said, no, it's been big, especially during the pandemic. And that's what you needed things to do during the pandemic, so that makes an awful lot of sense.
Yeah, completely understand that. Now, on First Bank text line 360-8255, we have a question in here. What if the Grizzlies lose and the Warriors win tonight? What would happen? I can tell you nothing, really, at all. So the Warriors and the Grizzlies this year are 1-1 against each other. So whoever wins the next game wins the tiebreaker. So if the Grizzlies were to lose and the Warriors were to win tonight, the Grizzlies would be a game behind the Warriors, but if the Grizzlies go and beat the Warriors on Sunday, none of that would matter because the Grizzlies would be tied with the Warriors. They would gain that game back.
They would own the tiebreaker.
And they would own the tiebreaker, so then they would get the 8th spot. So to answer your question in short, nothing really.
Pete Thamel reporting that Virginia Tech is targeting DeMatha High School coach Mike Jones as the school's new associate head basketball coach. Deal is not done, but he's a leading candidate. Interesting. He just finished his 19th season at DeMatha, and I assume then he coached, what's his name, from Miami?
Earl Timberlake?
Earl Timberlake.
Memphis now.
Yeah. What did I say?
You said from Miami. But
originally from Miami.
No,
I was trying to
know you were right. You were correct.
All of a sudden, I'm brain dead on his name. But, yeah, so he came from DeMatha in Hyattsville. Morgan Wooten was the legendary coach at DeMatha before. I assume Mike Jones was the guy who replaced him. But that would be interesting if he makes that move to Virginia Tech. All right, when we come back, we're going to play 10 in a row, the game show that has swept the nation. You can jump on the First Bank phone line right now at 360-8255. That's 360-8255 if you'd like to play 10 in a row. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 98.5.
Same great shows.
We welcome you back to Sports 56 Middays.
What's up? It's Sports 56 Happy Hour.
A new spot on the FM dial. Check out Sports 56 on our new FM home at 98.5.
You looking for a ride equipped with family fun for everyone? We got it at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike during the Jeep Freedom Days and Memorial Day sales event. 2021 Jeep Renegade Sport, $23,990 or $299 a month. 2021 Dodge Charger XST 31110 or $399 a month. 2021 Jeep Wrangler Sport $335 a month. And 2021 Fiat 500X Pop all-wheel drive $24,490 or $329 a month. So drive past the rest and come to the best. Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat 1900 Covington Pike or shop online. GossettMotorCars.net. If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
Almost finance through Chrysler, 75 months at 4.15% APR, 500X, MP 8982, MSRP 27,885, Renegade MPM 44,788, MSRP 26,240, Charger SXT, MH 561,998, MSRP 33,110, Wrangler MW 725,203, MSRP 33,610, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax out on license, see dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 5/31/21 with approved credit, dealer stock only.
If you're going on vacation, making a college campus visit, or if business takes you out of town, there's just no better place to board your dog than Barks and Recreation, 965 Ruddock Cove between Bud Davis Cadillac and the Blue Plate Cafe in East Memphis. Boarding, daycare, grooming, we have the best of everything at Barks. Indoor-outdoor kennels so your family member can go in and out as they please. Indoor and outdoor play areas. 4 walks a day. Group play and individual attention from the best staff in the Mid-South, which includes an overnight staff to ensure the safety and comfort of your pet 24 hours a day. All reasons to choose Barks and Recreation above all other boarding and daycare facilities. BarksDaycare.com or 509-0909. Check us out and make your reservations now at BarksDaycare.com. If your dog could speak, he'd say Barks.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies. We will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Five-Ash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five-Ash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Hey, we get it. You don't want to be hearing a Progressive commercial right now, so let us tell you something you do want to hear. No one is funnier than you. People laugh just thinking about the things you've said. I'm laughing at one of them right now. Coworkers repeat your jokes at the office, but they're never as good as when you tell them, and shame on them for trying. There. Don't you feel better? You'll also feel better knowing you could save when you bundle home and auto with Progressive. Although I'm sure you'd have a funnier way to say that. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. Final segment here on this Friday edition of Middays. John Harden takes over at 1 o'clock for Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio. Eli is back on Monday, getting set for what should be a great weekend. But right now, we want to get your weekend started on the right foot by winning, or at least having a chance to win at 10 in a row.
Not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9, but 10 in a row.
Jump on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255. That's 901-360-8255. We do it every Friday. It's 10 in a row, the game show that has swept the nation. Today we're going to give away to the winner a $25 gift card to Sweetgrass and $25 in piggy bucks to Central Barbecue. Pretty simple question. Over the last 10 years of the show Hard Knocks, what NFL teams have been profiled? Now, Hard Knocks hasn't been around forever, but I'm going the last 10 years of the show. Hard Knocks. What NFL teams were profiled? And I can give you a hint that last year there were 2 teams that were profiled together. So I'll give you the team. If they were profiled in the last 10 years on Hard Knocks, it's a yes. If not, it's a no. We got open lines right now. Don't delay. I don't have time to mess around. 360-8255. I think $25 is Sweetgrass and $25 is Central Barbecue is a nice enough prize package. So let's get things going. 360-8255, and we will begin with Dave. Hey, Dave.
Hey, guys.
All right, once again, since you're caller number 1, I'll take my time and give you the question again. Over the last 10 years of the show Hard Knocks, what NFL teams have been profiled? The Panthers.
Yes.
Not a good start. 360-8255. Over the last 10 years of the show, Hard Knocks, what NFL teams have been profiled? 360-8255. Don't delay. We don't have a lot of time here. We want to give away the $50 in gift cards, $25 to Sweetgrass, and the $25 in piggy bucks to Central Barbecue. Next up is Gary. Gary, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, guys.
All right, here we go. Over the last 10 years of the show Hard Knocks, what NFL teams have been profiled? The Patriots.
Yes.
Wow.
People don't watch Hard Knocks, I guess.
Hard Knocks is great. And Liev Schreiber, the terrific actor, is a great narrator. 360-8255. I'm not going to beg. Jump on the phone lines right now if you want to play. If not, I'm going to move on. Over the last 10 years of the show Hard Knocks, what NFL teams have been profiled? You can look the darn thing up. It's pretty easy. I gave you an easy question today, unless you don't watch Hard Knocks. Then it's a much harder question. 360-8255. 360-8255 as we play 10 in a row. $25 gift card to Sweetgrass, which is a terrific restaurant right there on Cooper. And is it Cooper? Yeah. And then $25 in piggy bucks to Central Barbecue. All right, let's get back to this thing. Over the last 10 years of the show, Hard Knocks, what NFL teams have been profiled? Let's go to John. Hey, John.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Not too much. Panthers.
No.
Raiders.
No.
We're going one at a time. We're going to be here till 5 o'clock. Next up is Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy.
Okay, that's right.
Here we go. Patriots.
No.
Rams.
No.
360-8255. We've gotten to 2 lists, 4 total names for callers. That's not a good average. That's 1 per caller.
Progress.
Well,
though.
that's slow progress.
Baby steps.
360-8255. 360-8255 is the number to call if you want to play 10 in a row. In the meantime, as we await more callers for a $25 gift card to Sweetgrass and $25 in piggy bucks to Central Barbecue. I didn't talk about this at the beginning of the show when I mentioned that I did go to the Grizzlies game last night. So it's the first game I've been to since the beginning of the year. And at first, it was the same feel that I had when I first went, when there was nobody there, just an eerie feeling. And it was still strange. However, and I don't know how many fans they had total. And they can only have up to, I think, around 3,200. I'm not sure what exactly they ended up having. But just having some people there as the game went down to the wire, not really the last play, but down to the final minutes before the Grizzlies took control, the fans were vocal. And you started to get that good feel again about fans. And I was talking to folks with the Grizzlies, and I said, yeah, I haven't been to a lot of them this year because, kicking back and I'm watching at home and getting everything I need to get done for the show, and I don't have to come to the arena. But I love going to the arena. I love going to stadiums. I love going anywhere where there's live sports action, as long as there's fans, because the fans are what excite me. I love what's going on in front of me with the game, but the fans make it. That atmosphere is made by the fans, and I felt a little bit more of that atmosphere last night at FedEx Forum. Not close to what it needs to be, not close to what it will be, hopefully one day, but certainly a little bit better. All right, back to 10 in a row over the last 10 years of the show Hard Knocks. The last 10 years, what NFL teams have been profiled? I'll give you the name of the team. If they've been profiled, it's a yes. If not, it's a no. Ron is next. Hey, Ron.
Hey, guys.
All right, here we go. Panthers.
No.
Raiders.
Yes.
Cowboys.
Yes.
360-825. We're 5 for 5. I've named 5 teams. We've had 5 callers.
Everyone gets one more on each list.
Michael's next. Hey, Michael.
Hey, guys.
Let's see if Michael can break the trend. Over the last 10 years of the show Hard Knocks, what NFL teams have been profiled? The Patriots.
No.
The Rams.
No.
360-8255. It's incredible. It's 6 for 6. 6 for 6. We're moving in increments of 1. Over the last 10 years of the show Hard Knocks, what NFL teams were profiled? We're giving away a $25 gift card to Sweetgrass, $25 in piggy bucks to Central Barbecue. And we're running out of time, ladies and gentlemen. Just a few more minutes before we got to wrap it up with one final thing. Daryl is next. Hey, Daryl.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well. All right, let's go. Panthers.
No.
Raiders.
Yes.
Cowboys.
No.
Falcons.
Yes.
Chiefs.
No.
Ravens.
Oh, Ravens. No.
Seahawks.
No.
Bengals.
Yes.
Colts.
No.
Dolphins.
Oh. Yes.
That sounds like a guy who looked it up. Great job, Daryl. Congratulations. You are a winner. We'll put you on hold, and Gabe will get your information. I know the old tricks, ladies and gentlemen. We've been doing 10 in a row for far too long, but I wanted to give away. I always want to give away these prizes. $25 gift card to Sweetgrass, $25 in piggy bucks to Central Barbecue. Congratulations to Daryl. Or is that my other brother, Daryl? I don't know which Daryl it is. It's time now for one final thing.
Before Greg and Eli get out of here for the day, they each have one final thing they think you should know to make it through the rest of your day. So here are Greg and Eli with one final thing.
All right, Gabe and Eli. No, Gabe and Greg. Gabe, what's your one final thing?
It had seemed like we had not heard from AB in a long while. It seemed like Tom Brady had kept him out of the news for a while, but he's back in it due to his altercation with a moving truck driver in January of 2020 in the midst of his big episode, is what I will call it. There's a lawsuit filed Wednesday in Broward County by the driver Anton Tumanoff. Obviously, Brown pleaded no contest in June to the felony burglary with battery charge and the 2 lesser misdemeanor charges related to the incident. But Tumanoff is now seeking more than $30,000 in damages, with the lawsuit saying he was met with resistance and violence along with refusal to pay. The suit says Tumanoff suffered severe body injuries and mental anguish from the incident. So he is seeking $30,000 from AB. I don't know if that'll cause a big issue in AB's pocketbook.
It doesn't sound frivolous, and it doesn't sound like he's trying to extort too much money from him. $30,000 sounds reasonable. I think they settle this thing. It never sees the light of day in court. My one final thing, Phil Mickelson will not need to qualify for the U.S. Open after all. The 5-time major champion who grew up in the San Diego area near the venue for this year's championship, that's Torrey Pines, accepted a special exemption from the United States Golf Association on Friday to play in the 121st U.S. Open next month. It'll be the 30th U.S. Open of Mickelson's career, a tournament he has never won, but where he's finished runner-up 6 times. Quote, winning the U.S. Open has been a lifelong and elusive dream, and I've come close so many times, Mickelson said. You can't win if you don't play. I'm honored and appreciative of the USGA for the opportunity and look forward to playing in my hometown on a golf course I grew up on. Torrey Pines, of course, a course that Tiger Woods has dominated over the years. Unfortunately, Tiger, because of injury, will not be involved. But that would be quite the story if Phil Mickelson, now at 50, could finally win the elusive U.S. Open. It's not going to happen, but it's a nice story. It's nice to think of anyway.
That golf course is so beautiful, man. Oh,
You've been out there. I have never
been out
there.
gotten to see it. The views off the cliffs out there, it's just a beautiful course.
So once again, what's happening this weekend? Remember, the mask mandate, it's over. Starting tomorrow, you don't have to wear a mask. Now, there are still places that you go to that will require a mask. I think government buildings and things of that nature certainly still do, and then individual businesses, it's up to them. But the overall mandate as we know it in Shelby County, it's over. We're matching what's happening and what's been happening in Mississippi.
Well, technically over tomorrow.
Well, yeah.
And then obviously, privatized businesses can do what they want to do, but it comes after the CDC decided that vaccinated peoples did not have to wear masks in most places.
You going with the peoples?
The peoples, huh?
The peoples have spoken?
Yes, the peoples have spoken.
Want to thank our peoples who came and joined us on the program today. Nick Bromberg, Jay Privman, Steve Berkowitz, and Michael Wallace. We're a lot more intelligent for having them on the program. If you've missed any of our interviews, you can go to the website, sports56whbq.com. You can check out the Middays show. We break it down hour by hour. Some of our guests, not only for our show but other shows, are also in our featured audio segment. So if you haven't been to the website, what are you waiting for? Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio. It is coming up next. This weekend should be darn busy. Memphis 901 FC will play their regular season debut tomorrow in Birmingham. Of course, the Grizzlies tonight against the Kings in a meaningless game. Sunday, they'll be in San Francisco to take on the Golden State Warriors in a huge game. Memphis Tigers playing their final home series of the season in baseball as well. We'll talk about everything coming up on Monday when Eli rejoins me and Gabe. So for Eli and Gabe, I'm Greg. Have a great weekend, everybody.